Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the greatest show on earth. This is the Umzansi Esports League, Season 3, brought to you by none other than Nodwin Gaming. My name is Dr. Sid, here to bring you all the action, but I'm not alone. I'm here with two amazing gentlemen, Mr. Snare and Mr. Tendo, and we are here to bring you all the action as it plays out today in the world of esports on the African continent. Before we go any further, let's take a very quick look at the schedule for today. And as you have it, ladies and gentlemen, in the next 3 to 4 minutes, we will be kicking off with the FIFA 21 schedule with a match of Bobo Beast versus Masoom. These things are heating up right now. We are almost at the final segment, and we're about to find out who's going to make it to the final segment. After that, we are going to be moving into the PUBG Mobile segment, where we have 3 matches coming to you from 3 maps: Rango, then Sandhawk, and then Miramar. Now, all this is nice, but we need to let you know what all these players are playing for, and that is our amazing Season 3 prize pool, which stands at a whopping $17,500, with 15,000 going to the PUBG Mobile and 2,500 staying right here with the FIFA 21 players. Now, today's matchup promises to be a very, very exciting match. I always like Snare to tell us about these two players who will be going head-to-head today.
So, today, we know that we have Bobo Beast and Masoom coming up. And the reason why this particular matchup is important is what it could mean for either of these players. Bobo Beast has 2 games left. If he wins both of them, he is still in contention to somehow get himself into the top 4 and make it to the playoffs. And Masoom, for his part, because of the events that happened yesterday between Unfazed and the Beast Bianchi, for the first time in the entire competition, Masoom has an undisputed shot of going over and putting himself in contention to be first, depending on how the matchup goes here today. So he's been the one that has, unfairly or not, has been chasing, not necessarily been leading the pack in the way that he's wanted to. So here he has a chance to stamp his authority onto the competition, and Bobo has a chance to show that he's not actually an underdog and that we've all been sleeping on him. So it's going to be an incredibly close matchup, and it means a lot to both of the players.
Let's take a look at the standings and see where the players line up. And I would like Dan to sort of walk us through some of the permutations and the mathematical possibilities here.
Pulling out the math today is gonna be a bit difficult, we need calculators for that damn thing. But like, you know what? Looking at the table right now, it's really open for anybody. And again, you gotta go and look at where Bobo is situated down there, 7th place in relegation as well. So that's gonna be weighing heavy on his mind right now. So he's gonna need to try capitalize on as many points as he can, and he might just be able to end up just out of relegation, because I think that's really what he needs to play for right now, because no one wants to go into that relegation match because you never know what's on the opposite end of that. For Masoom, though, today's the day. I think he needs to show up. He needs to use these game in hands that he has, to get on top right now of the Beast, and I think he can do it. I think given the opponent in Bobo, it's a little bit easier. Coming into this one, it's always that underdog story. So are we going to see Goliath finally crushing these underdog stories, and we're not going to have one of these situations where it's a little bit awkward, where we find Bobo winning this game and then this and that and that, and then all of a sudden Savage is moving up in the table, you know what I mean? Then it's Moby moving up in the table, and now you're panicking because you might not end up as 4th, right? The painful thing, I think, at the end of this season is going to be coming 5th place, I think. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be like, we're just there.
So close. And even just looking at the numbers, the possibilities are crazy. But right now, Bobo Beast cannot afford to lose this game if he wants to have any chances of making it into the top 4, because he has right now, if I'm not mistaken, 4 points. He has 2 games left. With those 2 games, he gets a maximum of 10 points. Now, even qualifying for getting into the top 4 depends on his goal difference, which means not only does he have to win 2 games, but he has to win them by a lot of goals. Now, even people like Young Savage, he's on 9 points with 2 games to go. If he wins 1 game, he's pretty much secure, depending on what happens in a few other matches. So right now, the table is heating up. The match is about to kick off. We're getting ready. I just want to have very quickly predictions from you guys. Sean?
All right, so y'all know how I feel about who needs this more. And we've seen Bobo pull up a couple of upsets. But something tells me Masoom's got the edge today. I'm saying Masoom 4-2 Masoom. Yeah, 4-2 Masoom.
4-2 Masoom, Tendo?
Yeah, I think we've seen enough underdog stories. It's kind of getting to that point where I think a lot of the top dogs need to just crack down on themselves and understand the position that they're in. And I think that's going to happen today. Masoom is taking this one. I think it's going to be 3-0 on aggregate right here.
3-0. All
Yeah.
right, so it's lopsided for Masoom today, 4-2, 3-0. And like I always do, shaking these tables, I'm going to give it 4-3-2 Bubble Beast.
Okay.
4-3.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's just see. I mean, I'm going to root for the underdog. Let's just hope. I mean, I like an underdog story, you know, because the idea that someone from in a position of obscurity like Bo Weiss can come back and win is just brilliant and beautiful to watch. As the match kicks off, I hand over to you guys to take us through the amazing show. See you after the game, guys.
Thank you, Dr. Sid. Professor Tendo. So what are we going to see here? Obviously, Bobo, he's the one that has the most to do. I think he's done enough over the course of the league that he deserves the full name of Bobo Beast. What do you think? Is he going to be... we have seen that he tends to falter if he gets scored against early on. So concession he can't really afford to have happen. What do you think, given what you're seeing so far? Is it going to be an early goal against them, or is he going to be able to maintain a defensive shape?
Yeah, I'm worried that what's going to end up happening in this game, just already looking at the play style that I think Bobo's coming into this one. He's going to be trying to apply a lot of pressure onto Masoom, because he knows if he gives Masoom the chance to, you know, get a counter attack or to just get inside the box, it's definitely going to be curtains for him. So I think really what's going to happen here, and I think what's going to crumble for Bobo, is he's going to be causing so much pressure, but because life is like a yin and yang, there's going to be pressure building up in his backline, and it's going to be penetrated by Masoom. So it's a bit tricky, and maybe you're going to see something happen here as Masoom's deep in the box, but actually just going to roll it out.
Yeah, we do see him being able to crowd out Masoom there on the attack, and didn't seem to panic. There was that one game that we were in together that the Bobo Beast defense against the Beast Bianchi was just impeccable. Needs to be able to bring that kind of form back here today. One thing that I'm also looking out to see is whether or not he's made any changes to his team. It looks like he's adopted Nani that the Beast Bianchi's been using up until this point. So living up to more than just the name. Also players on the pitch. Now inside the box, Atal looking for a way through. Atal gets the shot off. Away from the goal.
Yeah, so today I think explosive is already what I'm seeing from Bobo. I think he's gonna work off that energy, and I think he can back that skill that he has in terms of just like making plays and finding players down the line. And I'm actually, you know, that point that you brought of Nani being added into the pitch, playing like the beast almost, right? You know, one thing about life in general, when you're trying to achieve something, it's always good to take a reference to who's doing it best, right? So this is probably him looking at Nani and playing for the Beast, and he's just like, okay, well, if Beast is doing this, maybe I can put him in and he can work for my play style, because maybe they have similar play styles here and there, you know, the way they like to play. And I mean, yeah, you can kind of see it. This explosiveness is, you know, really attributed to how the Beast can play at times. So far, I'm liking what I'm seeing from the underdog.
Underdog himself out here. As a corner kick, we'll see what he can make of this. From the edge of the box, trying to run his way in at the towel. Almost got himself a goal earlier on, but this time around, not going to be as fortunate. We haven't yet seen Masoom able to really look that threatening on the ball. It's still early days, and Bobo Beast is doing a good job of keeping himself clear of goals, but Masoom, we're mentioning explosiveness right now. He is incisive. Does not need to have extremely explosive moments. Just needs to find one extremely precise one. Now he's in the box. For a way forward. Bruno Fernandes getting crowded out. And just like we've seen before, does seem like he is a little bit more confident on closing down the attacks before they happen, not allowing himself to get sucked into the pace of his opponent.
So now it's going to be Masoom taking the ball, driving it forward, trying to open up some space, but it's kind of closed down for him. There's not much room for him to work with, but knowing Masoom, he likes to hold on to the ball, build pressure up in the back line, and find an opportunity to get a dribble pass there. Mbappe was looking good for it, but not quite. So now it's going to be Bobo He's on the ball. He's going to work from this. Has some opportunities up front that he can work with. Good through ball to find Nani passing to Tal. So it's a link-up play down the middle. They're trying to create some space here. But space is getting closed down really well by Masoom. So it's really difficult right now for Bobo to even find an opening.
Doing a good job, though, of keeping some control of the ball regardless. Eventually, though, it's going to be too much. And as you mentioned, all those openings being closed down means that the turnover is forced. Masoom, though, still also struggling to be able to find his way through. I'm going to try here. On the ball. Complication that I don't think Masoom was necessarily prepared for is how ready Bobo Beast has been to not just maintain the shape in the back, but track back on his attackers. Even if it dilutes his potential for a counter-attack, make sure that he has enough men back. But now he gets dribbled past. My gosh. As I'm speaking, Neymar. Yo, how did he find that gap? What happened, Tendo?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a little bit of a mistiming from the defense of Bobo there. I think he didn't really think that he was going to be able to push that ball as forward as he could there, but Neymar just good with the pace, able to get that touch that really pushed it forward, and then keep us drawn out at that point, and he just slides it past pretty much, and it's the end of the story. It's Masoom on top, you know, predicting, looking good so far from my side, and now Bobo's gonna have to find a response very soon, because if he doesn't find a response, it's gonna be the relegation discussion really weighing on his mind right now. But he's in the box.
In the box, but unfortunately unable to stay in the box. It's crowded out, and at this point, like you say, relegation weighing on his mind. He's at the point now where even a draw might give him some degree of hope, but he definitely cannot afford to lose here. Maybe
It's tough to go off though, right? Like you need to win this game as Bobo. It's just like, you know, it's just been a tough season, and now you're dealt those cards where you don't really have an option anymore, right? You just have to perform and output, and I think you can kind of see the desperation play over here from Bobo so far as well, because he needs to get forward, he needs to create opportunities, because he knows he's not going to get many.
And oh goodness, almost got the ball into the box keeper there. And yeah, exactly, like you mentioned, the fact that he's at this point, you don't want to be relying on permutations happening elsewhere, right? Being like, okay, if everyone else around me loses, then maybe I have a way in. To do it by his own strength has to be a victory here. Still a lot of time left, only the first half having elapsed at this point. Even then, only in its dying moments. As he gets back into the box, Atama finds a way. No! Heartbreak for Bobo Beast as the ball ricochets off the post back into play, and a golden opportunity turns to dust in his eyes. Ah, that sucks. That sucks. He almost had it, but it doesn't go.
Yeah, it really does suck when something like that happens, and it's that 12th man on the pitch that, you know, we always bring up. I mean, it's like, we gotta coin it after the season. I mean, you know, we're gonna bring back the poll, and we should just get like a highlight reel of just like people hitting the poll and just like, oh, the 12th man on the pitch. But anyways, it's halftime, and there's a lot of pressure. Definitely, there's a lot of pressure. I think if you look at the game, the way it's playing out, I think Masoom is very happy in just letting Bobo play the game, pretty much, right? I mean, Masoom knows he's, like you said earlier, where contrasting to how Bobo plays, Bobo's a little bit more explosive. Like we saw there, just out of nowhere, like, oh my goodness, there's a shot. Whereas Masoom is just like this calculated, precise play. It's really just gonna be tough when those explosive plays don't come into fruition for Bobo in this situation.
Yeah, and especially given the fact that his kind of play style, in some sense, requires not necessarily the element of surprise, but it's much harder to pull off when your opponent is the one that can afford to sit back and you're the one that has to chase the game. See if Bobo can make this happen though, as he's dribbling with Nani. Is crowded out, cannot complete the pass. Second half here is going to be crucial because he cannot afford to go into the second leg behind or playing in the chasing situation. And now, has to be careful here because with Cancelo, Masoom looking to double his lead. Gets the ball back into Neymar. And he get these dribbles off. Ronaldo in the box. Ronaldo is possessed. Bobo can breathe, but only for a moment. He's going to try to string together his own counter-attack here.
Yeah, so counter-attack is on now for Bobo, stringing up some passes that are looking pretty good to find Bamba on the wing, but it's going to fumble it a little bit, but just enough to get it out. Oh, it's actually going out for a goal kick. I thought it hit the the player lost, but you know, it is what it is. Ramos on the ball now, able to reset it from the back here for Masoom. And that threaded pass, look at these threaded passes coming in, calculated from Masoom. You can't even stop them, no interception, but finally there is one actually. And now it's again Bobo on the counter. But what can he really find? It just seems like there's no real answer. But as soon as I say that, it seems like there's a big run. But the keeper off his mark, but no, someone's there to follow. It's the post. It's the post again. It's ringing. It's rattling off.
Oh my goodness. Make your orders for 12th player merch because this is just insane at this point. Twice in the game, Bobo Beast prevented from getting a goal. So might be able to score his own. Getting past this man. Ronaldo finds the space, finds the goal. Wow. Now that is the worst feeling in the world. Well, that denies you, and immediately afterwards, Ronaldo gets the catch.
This has to be the 12th man in that situation, right? It could be a different story where it could be all leveled up here. But now here we are where he's down 2 goals. He needs to find something really quick, 62nd minute in the game. Bobo's not looking good, but it's tough, right, Snap? Because I'm watching the game and it's Bobo who's really impressing me with the plays, with the explosiveness that he's been, you know, bringing to the table, with some of the passes he's finding. But Masoom, it's just like a doctor, you know, in what he's doing here.
Surgeon at this point. And like you said earlier, he doesn't actually mind Masoom whether or not Bobo Beast is the one that's playing most of the game, whether or not he's the one that's on these aggressive movements. He's not scoring, and he keeps being denied by the point. It's like, okay, Masoom is aware that he doesn't have to be on the ball as much as Bobo does in order to find his finishes, and scoreline definitely attests to that, in tandem with the fact that it does seem like Bobo in the second half especially has had so much possession. Now he has to deal with another threat. As here, opportunity yet again, Mbappe gets the ball into Neymar. Is this going to be a third goal? He's able to still keep it in. Gets the turnaround in the middle of the box. Ronaldo gets a brace and turns it into 3. As Masoom just putting on a clinic here against
Oh man, it's like an operating table at this point. The way he's just finding these passes and finding space between the defenders, it's tough for Bobo to deal with, and you gotta be gutted when you're definitely the man putting up most of the attack, holding most of the possession. And it's just like these turnovers, these random turnovers that Masoom gets where everything's just calculated to perfection, that he just ends up scoring. It's 3-0. I predicted 3-0 as the aggregate score to BH. Not after the first leg, but maybe there's still something for Bobo to say here as he's on for an attack, but it's snuffed out.
So much for Bobo to still do, not just in this particular leg, but throughout the tie. But looking more and more like Masoom is the one that's adapting to the style of Bobo rather than the opposite. And the issue with that is you're still chasing the game. You still have to learn how to crack the defense. It does not help if the opponent is the one that's cracking right past you. Hope for his own sake that there is not a 4th goal in this game, but I don't know. It has that arrow of inevitability about it. So it's going to be able to find that one last goal before this leg is over. Bobo though, on the attack, Cancelo. Can he make this overlapping run? Gotta bring in these fullbacks sometimes. See how successful it'll be. Giving the ball to Bruno Fernandes. Nani inside, looking into the box. Looking for the roulette pass. Will not be able to find it, but the step over will work. Back into the middle. Gets the dribble, gets the shot, gets the goal. Finally, Bobo Beast posts up a goal, gets himself on the board.
Is it too late though? You know, Sine? Well, at least in this first game, I mean, it's too late. Is it too late in this entire tie, in this entire leg, for him to come back now? You know, and I wanted to comment on, if you're watching the game, there's just like this swagger that Masoom is moving around with, that his defense and offense midfield just has, where they're just like calm and collected. And when you contrast it to how Bobo is playing, it's like as soon as the ball is, like, let's say, example, retrieved by a defender, he's just trying to push it as quickly far up the pitch as he can. You know, there's no like control, there's no method to what's happening. It just seems like, let's try get a goal quickly. I'm good with, like, you know, attacking. Let me use that to my strength. You know, I think today it's the defense that's really letting him down. But you gotta go.
You gotta go. You gotta go. Sometimes that's all that matters. is put something up so that you go into the second leg with some degree of confidence. And he's going to try and overload the attack here. Get as many forward players as he can for a dying moment of the game. No need to worry anymore about the defense. That being said, though, Masoom might still be able to test that defense. Amba not giving him a moment to breathe. You've just got to go, my friend. My time to try and get another one back. Ronaldo, I'll keep the ball, though. That has to be a massive sigh of relief for Bobo. There was a small moment where he could have attacked Messi. Was in position for the run, but I don't think that Bobo was expecting to find that good of a space so soon. Gonna have to try to do it the old-fashioned way here, Tendo.
Yeah, a bit of a haywire pass, though, but it's still in play. But the defense has snuffed it out. No, it's actually retrieved. It's a towel. A towel in these situations is good for it! Woo! And he is! Oh my goodness, what a cracker of a shot.
All right.
And now there's hope. Now there's a conversation. Now there's a storyline. You know, we're going to end this game off probably as the scoreline stands. So there's a little bit of room to work with. But no, Masoom, please, don't do it. Don't do it to us, Masoom. Please, please,
don't
Masoom,
do it.
please.
No.
Don't do it. Oh, come on. Okay.
All right,
All right.
Well, what kept him from doing it? He wanted to do it. He wanted to do it. He wanted to do it really badly. But Bobo was like, nah, relax, my G. Calm down. Let's still have a good time. Let's entertain the folks at home. So he brings it 3-2. And with goals that are for Bobo, right? When you're in this kind of situation, there's two types of ways that you can score these goals. There's the type of goal that after you score it, you're like, okay, yeah, I'm a little bit back in, but the goal was lucky, or I was in a situation where I just exploited a weakness of my opponent. These goals that were scored here by Bobo, not only were they clean, right? They should have been more. So he could have psychologically feel really good going into the second leg, knowing that, honestly, I can actually take this guy.
Yeah, and I think he can take him, you know what I mean? I mean, look, contrasting the play styles, yes, you can say that when you're watching the game, Masoom seems more in control because everything's calm, cool, and collected, but you can't look away from, like, you know, the frantic, you know, fast-paced play style that Bobo's bring on the table, because that definitely does work. At the end of the day, right, if you're gonna pin an 18-year-old versus like a 30-something-year-old in a 100-meter sprint, like, one is gonna win, right? Unless they've been training their whole life for it, one is more likely to win. And in this situation, I feel like backing how Bobo's been playing in his confidence of this fast-paced play, you know, he's confident about it. He definitely can bring it, you know, and retaliate against Masoom. So this second leg is gonna be is crucial. This is he's like hanging on like a needle, just like holding on to this hope of getting this win, I think.
Definitely needs this win. There is no other option but for him to get it. And the fact that you're able to, I mean, at this point, right, he's just Bobo. He just knows that every game he plays is playing against 12 men. It is what it is. Nothing he can do about it. So I kind of feel like for him as well, like you mentioned, the way he's been playing, right, always attacking, always on the front foot. If he's able to just be a little bit cleaner, right, because that's all he really needs to change for himself. Be cleaner and be a little bit tighter on the defense. But you can't rely necessarily on keeping a clean sheet against Masoom. He's going to find ways to you. So if you're him right here, what's the number one thing that he needs to do to keep the hope of staying in the Esports League alive?
Yeah, I think his biggest weakness is definitely the defense right now. I don't think it's up to par with the clinicalness of how Masoom is playing. You know, I think Masoom is able to just like find the faults here and there, and I don't think Bobo's like step back and almost act, you know the thing about like having a coach right behind your back is they see the mistakes that you don't often see when you're playing, right? So sometimes obviously in this kind of situation you have to kind of step back and be that coach and be like, okay, this is definitely not working, how can we adapt? Because you said Masoom is really good at adapting to the playstyle, which he did, right? He absorbed the pressure of Bobo that he was doing like and creating, and he just retaliated by, you know, opening up his defense when I think Bobo wasn't really expecting it to happen, right? So can Bobo do the same? That's the real question here. Can he adapt? It's looking a little bit slim.
Shall see as leg number 2 now getting underway. Bobo Beast taking on Masoom. This is the final opportunity for Bobo Beast. He's not able to win here, and he is never going to be able to escape the conversation of relegation. But there's still a lot of leg to go. See what he can make happen. What a pass from Masoom in the box. And as the moment the whistle blows, he's already on the attack. Immediately dispossesses Bobo Beast, gets himself a goal. Suddenly we're here 4-2.
Yeah, and that's just not how you want to start, right? It's like it's gonna be a big mental blow, but you just have to push forward at this point. So now it's gonna be Masoom again on the attack. So maybe Masoom is gonna change things up here and be more aggressive, because it does seem like he's trying to play into Bobo now with a towel. Neymar on the ball. Neymar gets past so easily. Wait, what? Wait, what? He just slipped past the defenders. They almost didn't even know he was there, and he gets the goal.
Okay, I understand, man. So what happened there was that Masoom injected a little piece of code that made the Neymar player invisible to the opponent players, you know? Able to get on the ball with nobody seeing him. My goodness, alright. Literally came out of nowhere. Steals that goal. And 2-0 up, 5-2. Suddenly we are in a situation where Bobo Beast, at the dying moment of leg one, he was like, okay, only have to come back with 1 goal instead of 3. And now we're right back where we started. 3 goals down on aggregate, needing 4 goals at this point in order to be able to win the game and stay and keep his hopes alive in the Esports League here in Umzansi.
Yeah, it's tough, man, and you never want to, like you say, hope that in another fixture something goes south or etc. etc. But at this point, you kind of have to be hoping that when you're playing as Bobo, but you still have to be, come into this and still believe that you can win this, and kind of just take this game as it stands on like the official score line of 2-0, work from the 2-0, level it up, take the lead from 2-0, and then start to build from there. There's a lot of time here. It's only 17 minutes, so he's definitely got the time. He's got the play style and explosiveness to make it happen, basically out of nowhere. We saw in that last game, he kind of just pulled it out of nowhere at the end.
Needs another out of nowhere situation here. 20 minutes in. A lot of game time left, and he's trying to play a little bit differently, slowing things down, and he gets the pass forward into Nani this way. Did require fewer touches on the ball to make that happen, so this might be a new look that we see from him going forward in this leg. Maintains possession and gets a deep pass to the edge of the box. Nani back into Bruno Fernandes. Looking for a way back into Nani, who keeps the ball somehow despite these very aggressive tackles. And you see why both these keep Nani in the team. Brazilian, very hard to dispossess, but eventually it will happen. Masoom can do that all day, every day, Soak up that pressure, provided you aren't scoring. He's like, okay, I'm not really afraid of what's going to happen next.
Yeah, and it's like a brick wall in front of him at this point, and I think Bobo just needs to maybe play the same way how Masoom's been playing this, just trying to break down the defense and find some weak points in it and open it up, instead of just trying to, drive it in as hard as he's been trying to do. But I mean, we can kind of see him trying to adapt to that right now. He's just trying to find some passes through here. And there's a good one right there. He can find something, but no, he's holding on to it for too long. The defense is able to just close him out there. Does get it back though, but not for long enough, as it's still going to be Masoom. And now Masoom's in a dangerous situation to just run it up. Ronaldo's on the ball, dangerous here with a pass, but no, the pass isn't going to come in. Things are just going to slow down. We're going to have to get this build-up play once again here from Bobo.
Bobo just has to do, consider the amount of work that Bobo has to do to get to these similar positions that Masoom can get to after like 3 or 4 passes every time he finds himself on the ball. His play style relies very much on how he uses the ball rather than just simply having it. Now though, he might have to defend because that's a very nice pass. Cartel now on the other side of the ball, look to the shot. Doesn't find it into the back of the net though. Still, nonetheless, a good time to get a corner kick. End of the first half as it's getting closer towards concluding. Oh, he had to find his first goal. Bobo in the box now, the dribble pass. Can't get it into the back of the net though. No, it looked very impressive.
It looked like it was about to go in with a rattling shot, but unfortunately there's just too many bodies in front of him, and it's this lob pass from Masoom that looks like a good take, but no, it just goes a little bit too far for the player. I mean, if he had got that one, that was gonna be such an opening for him, but it looks like he's gonna copy pasta what just happened here, and Bobo's gonna go on the opposite end, but he's gonna get his lob pass in. He's driving it in the box, but he drives it out. Just can't get the control, so it's gonna be goal kick now. Yeah, heartbreaking, shattering at this point. It's the first half is over and he hasn't scored, so right now the pressure is really on. Like he's probably panicking, and you just gotta urge him to just calm down and play his game, because I think if you've observed a lot, it's really just been Masoom, kind of just like dictating the pace of how things are going for the most part.
Exactly, Masoom right now. Speaking of him, he's gonna try and force through a goal towards the end of this first half. If he can get this, it pretty much becomes beyond hope. Holds it up magnificently, gets the dribble, and the shot goes wide. Oh, that would have been spectacular had it gone in. Fortunately for Bobo Beast, it does not, so this game gets to continue for now. Dangerous moments though. And the thing is, the way that we've been seeing things pan out right now, Masoom is the one that seems more likely to score the next goal, which is very dangerous for Bobo. If the next goal comes, he already needs to do 3. He's already looking like he's not going to be able to find those goals. Now imagine if another one comes through just to put the final nail in the coffin. And look at that possession, 61% that he's got for himself on Bobo Beast.
Yeah, you hate to see that, honestly, right? It's like Masoom is basically the CEO of the company, and at this point Bobo is just the workers down below doing majority of the work in the game, holding all this possession, but it's really just that top percentage that's really dictating how everything is going. So it's unfortunate, and the comeback story, it's hard when it's like 45 minutes only. You need to score, it's not even like to tie it up, right? It's like you gotta score more than like to win, because you still need to win the game. So there's just like so many things that have to be going through your mind at this point that you start to lose focus, and this is when players like Masoom will start to activate and start to punish.
The story of capitalism continues here, as looking quite difficult. You see that they get now a ball very deep into the box. Masoom, is he going to be able to get another one forward? Crowd does not seem happy. Masoom still in possession. Neymar looking for the roulette pass. He's going to be able to get the turnover, the switch. Easy slot into the top corner. Third goal, like it was nothing. He's like, oh, by the way, you thought that there was still a chance? Nah, buddy, sorry. You have to now score 5 goals if you want to win.
Bit of an impossible task at this point, for Bobo, and now it's even the goal difference lingering in the back of your head, like, oh no, if I keep getting scored, then it's really over, right? Now there's no flipping the coin table, because at the end of the day, right, now Bobo's in a situation where 1 game left and it can't be a draw. It literally cannot be a draw. But maybe something. Bobo, can he get a shot in? Yes, he can. He gets a bit of redemption at least in this leg, yeah. But the mountain is still Everest, so it's a little bit out of discussion. You have 4 goals to just win this fixture. But, quickly before I hand over to you, just ending off the point of, now it's like he's going to be 7th place. You need to be 6th to just be safe, right? And now it's like, what is 6th place sitting at? 7 points, right? He has 4 points. Do or die. Goal difference. It's just too much to think about. And Masoom's just here, just knocking at the front door.
Oh my goodness. At the very least, that didn't happen. If that had gone in, that's like your motivation is finished now. You're done. Might as well just end the game, take the controller, GG out. But no stays in it. But my goodness, like you're mentioning, they can't just be focusing on this game. There's so many things that he needs to be thinking about. And he finds a beautiful lob goal. Mbappe, this might be the chance. We make it. No! One-on-one with the keeper, and the keeper comes out on top. Somehow, it's prevented from the goal. And it will still stay 6-3 on aggregate, 3-1 in this game. And Masoom is not even phased. He's like, oh, you almost scored? That just means that there's fewer players on the defense for me to have to get through.
Yeah, at this point, Masoom is just it's taking it as a scrim, you know, just trying to improve some skills, trying to find some passes in. And it's just insane to watch because he's holding a 4-man defense with one player, dude. Like one player, the whole entire team, it just can't stop him. He gets a shot off as well. Keeper thankfully is there. But now Bobo needs to just reset and find something to just, you know, goal difference at this point is the only discussion I have. Like he needs to find at least to level it up. You know, it's not impossible, right? Like he can do that. There's still time. He's in for this one. Maybe find something. Not yet.
This must be so frustrating for him. The amount of times he's found himself in through the final third, the amount of times he's found himself looking for the last step of the dribble just to be able to get into space. And then you'd get denied, you get rebuffed, get kept back. And now it's a situation where you definitely know in your mind that, okay, it's probably, you're thinking about how do I play out the qualifiers in relegation? How do I keep myself in future? You know, how do I come back for season 4? You're not worried about season 3 anymore at this point, which is unfortunate, but Masoom has taken away all hope with this massive goal deficit that he's put up against the Bobo Beast here.
Yeah, it's yeah, build on the future, you know, like let's work. And there's a lot of positives I think you can take away from Bobo because he's looking good. I think he's looking really good, and I think the problem was throughout the season he didn't capitalize of the games where he could have taken them on, right? And I think the problem here is it's one of those situations where in the beginning of the season you're one skill level, and towards the end of the season you're another skill level. So now you've transcended, and the worst part about that is everybody else is still transcending with you. So you're just not finding your stride at the right time, I find, yeah. And that's basically the story of Bobo Beast. Too good, but not good enough, low-key. But like, I'm really, like, I really love his style of play, the way he plays, you know, the openings that he finds. It's exciting, man. It's exciting to see. Masoom, you know, it's just on the other side.
It's just unfortunate that you're playing against Masoom, right? It's one of these things where, what are you supposed to do in this situation? I'm the Iceman for a reason. I mean, look at this. What are you supposed to do here? Gets himself in through. Right. Masoom, man. This guy. This is Masoom right here. It's his show. He gets to show you that one does not need the spotlight for a long time, but every moment he's in it, captivates your attention. And he's not able to get his way through here. Bobo Beast, no matter how hard he tries. He's tried everything, man. How are we supposed to get past this? Like, seriously, at this point.
I don't know. Back to the drawing board, pretty much. You gotta watch this game over and just understand where your mistakes were, right? Because now it's like, now we can't even make like the he's gonna come back discussion anymore. It's like, how do you build forward in the future? It's definitely come back, learn from a couple of these mistakes. Because like, look at the passes, they're really good. He's finding the openings, the dribbles are on. He just needs to shoot, man. And then, you know, it's cleaning up. Oh, he's still in it. Wait, what? Yeah, but he just needs to like clean up this attack where if you go on the opposite side, yes, Masoom does the same, you know, fancy footwork, open up the defense, pull them away, but he knows when to pull the trigger, I think, at the right time.
He knows that every time he does that, it's in service of getting himself a goal, and he's able to achieve it more times than not. Masoom now looking for the next one, not going to be able to find it. 3-1 is probably going to be the final score here, unless Bobo has one final word to say. See the run on the flank? Cancelo got himself into space, but unfortunately could not get himself in space in time. And it will end 3-1. Masoom, just another masterclass from this guy, man. The Iceman back again, cool, calm, and collected. Gets another double.
My head is down. I'm shaking my head because I honestly was, you know, hoping for something there. And I was just listening to you, Tendo. I really agree that that he does have to clean up his attack and find the right time to shoot, because all these dilly-dallying, dancing inside the box and moving left and right and back and forth, just like Aston says, it has to be in service of a goal. Otherwise, you're just going to church without the Lord listening to your prayers or something. It just doesn't make any sense. But that being said, amazing gameplay by Masoom, literally stamping his authority on the game and closing it out 6-3. Woo! The goal difference also going in his favor, so he gets that amazing 3 points that I think right now should have side a top 4 position for him. If I'm not mistaken, there are only 2 possible players that can go above him, and that is obviously still probably Young Savage. Mobizilla still has an opportunity, but I think he's guaranteed. The only 2 players can go above him, and that means he's technically guaranteed a top 4 finish. He's done the work. He has done the work. The goal difference is nice, and congratulations to him. So obviously, right now, Masoom and the Beast Bianchi. You know what? That top spot isn't looking so safe right now. Looking at it, if I'm just looking at those numbers right now, it's not so safe for anybody. Even the Beast Bianchi, to be honest. I think those 2 players have secured their top spots in the top 4. It's just to see who comes first. It's a game of numbers now with guys like Young Savage and Mobizilla having opportunities, but the way it's looking now, even on FaZe has an opportunity up there as well. So as you guys can see, man, the tables are looking hot. The FIFA 21 tournament is looking really, really hot. But at this juncture, let me say big thank you to Snare and to Thendo for hanging out with us and giving us the action from that amazing matchup. We will be going on a break, and when we come back, we'll be back with the action from the PUBG Mobile segment. My name is Dr. Sid, and I will see you guys tomorrow for some more Umzansi FIFA. Peace out. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not tomorrow, but I am back to give you all the action that comes from the Umzansi Esports League Season 3, brought to you by Northern Gaming. My name is Dr. Sid, here with DK and Patchy, and it's PUBG Mobile time. You know that when we get to this time of day every weekend, we bring you some of the hottest action, and it doesn't get hotter what's happening right now. Ladies and gentlemen, before we move any further, let's take a look at the menu of what's happening today.
Yeah, look at this menu, looking super nice. We're going to get a starter of Erangel coming right up, and then of course the main course of Sanhok, and then we're going to finish it off right at the end with that lovely dessert that is Miramar, the paste de resistance, as it were, to close things out. That is of course the menu that we get every single time, and of course we'll be following it today and tomorrow. So, just in case you had questions about what it is that you're going to see when you come here and watch the PUBG action that we got going, there it is. You know what's happening. And, of course, to give you an idea of what is being fought for, what the war is about, it's about that prize pool. It's about $15,000 for the PUBG Mobile segment out of a total of $17,500, which is absolutely nuts. If you're not out here fighting for that prize pool right now, then you're missing out. You're missing out big time. And of course, all the people that are currently fighting for it are having a damn good time, to be sure. So of course, let's have a look and see who is in the runnings to actually be getting there, of course, as we head into our final round, or at least head towards our final round. We're going to be ending off this round here this week, and let's have a look and see who is sitting at the top. It's, of course, Gamers Unite Nations, 219 points for them, sitting at an insane number of points to lead the charge. Of course, right behind them, Undisputed AE with 275 in second place. G3 Temper claiming their third position with 209 points. Then moving down, we've got Ultra 6 in fourth place with 206. Immortalz in fifth with 203. We've got Pain Africa in sixth place with 187. We've got Influence Rage in seventh with 174. And BBC in eighth with 173 points. So now, nice to see those teams really just put in the work on the board and getting those points and heading up that leaderboard. Of course, heading into second page, this is pretty much where the safety zone ends here. Aphelion Apex there in ninth with 164. We've got NFxUnique in 10th position with 161. Zero Tolerance Skills in 11th place with 158. We've got Lag Esports in 12th with 140. Young Thundercats 129 in 13th place. We've got Scincerity with 121 in 14th, and Slime4KT in 15th with 117, ending things off with Rainbow Six Madagascar in 16th place with 105. So, of course, just a reminder of what we saw 4KT do. They managed to make quite the sprint out of that relegation zone to get themselves up into where they are now, and they will have a chance to remain, or at least prove themselves if they can remain outside of that spot. But speaking of that relegation zone, this is where we find ourselves right now. These are the teams that are in the hot seat. These are the teams that are finding themselves in quite a tough position, because if they want to get out of here, if they want to make sure that they secure a spot in the next round, they're going to have to put some serious work on the board. The teams are Black Clover in 17, Euphoric Gods in 18, Fear in 19, Not Gaming in 20, Natural Killers in 21, the Comfy Cartel in 22, Rain from Hell in 23, and the Drogons in 24. And I must say, there are a couple of teams on this list right here that I think it would be nice to see them maybe moving up, but I'm not sure at this point. Do you guys think that there's any chance at this time that these teams will be able to make it happen? I mean, I recall Fear Gaming was one of the teams that actually made it up out of the previous round's relegations. Do you think they can make such a sprint again?
Well, I don't know. I personally think Fear and Euphoric Gods might do something in these last few games. Maybe Rain from Hell could try, but in the last few matches, I think the Comfy Cartel have pretty much played whatever they can play. But Fear and Not Gaming and Euphoric Gods, sorry, I'm pretty particularly interested in. DK, what are you thinking?
Well, I don't know. It's gonna be particularly close. I'd like to see potentially the players there from the Natural Killers or Not Gaming looking to try and push up on it to that second page. As we can see, of course, there's not a lot of points currently separating 16th from 17th place. There's only 2 points difference of course, as we head on to the second page, we can see it's on 103, 102, and then 100 points. So I definitely think that 4 teams sitting at the top of this final page are in the running to get up onto that second page and potentially get themselves out of relegation. But it is going to be quite a bit of a challenge. It is going to be quite the fight that is in store for these teams. Because also, if we look onto that second page, we've got the players from Rainbow Six Madagascar. We got Slime 4KT, Scincerity Esports, as well as Young Thunder sitting from 17th down to 13th down to 16th place. So they are definitely also going to try and fight things out to see if they can get themselves a secured position. It is going to be quite a bit of a fight that I'm expecting to see from that 13th position down to potentially over into 20th. So 7 slots that can still change quite a bit of hands here as the teams are going to fight it down to the bone. We have several chicken dinners in the section, so there's no doubt the teams have the ability, the capability to pull off a move like that, a move required to secure themselves a slot on that second page. But will they be able to do it this weekend? I don't know.
And looking at the teams like Aphelion Apex in that particular position, they have secured massive amounts of points, kill points, without any chicken dinners, which is showing you how important the kill structure is. And I'll just run through that very quickly. From the first place gets 15 points, second place gets 12 points, third place 10, fourth place 8, fifth place 6 points. In sixth place, you get 4 points, seventh place gets 2. Teams in 8th to 12 get 1 point, 13th to 16th get 0 points, and the almighty 1 kill, 1 point, which I was pointing at, has given teams like Aphelion Apex a very good positioning, even though they have no chicken dinners. So we are looking forward to an amazing match today. DK, do you want to talk us through these teams? And we're looking at Group B versus Group C today.
Yeah, of course, for the Group B squads lineup there, we have the players from G3 Temper, as well as Undisputed, AE, Scincerity Esports, Influence Rage, Africa, the Drogons, the Comfy, Cartel, BBC, as well as Young Thunder. So we, of course, have the players from G3 and Undisputed currently sitting right up at the top of that leaderboard, holding on to those top slots. So we're going to be looking to see whether or not they'll be able to potentially stop some of the other teams looking to move up, looking to improve their stance on the leaderboard, and whether or not, you know, they'll just go about their business and continue along with the game that we know they can play. But of course, now we are waiting to see the players coming in from the Group C squads. And that, of course, is the side there of Zero Tolerance Skill. We got the players from Slime 4KT, Lag Esports, as well as Aphelion, Apex, Black Clover, Pain Africa, Rain from Hell, and then, of course, the Euphoric Gods. So we've already seen a pretty strong performance coming in from Slime 4KT just in last weekend's play. They were able to move from that last position up in towards 15th. So my question is whether or not we're going to be seeing them step up again in this weekend, bringing in the aggression, because they've made already a considerable amount of a jump just in the games they had in the previous 2 days. And now, of course, coming into their final 2 days, will they be able to move even further up that leaderboard and potentially even creep onto that first page?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to see that, them moving up to the first page, because obviously we like an upcomer story. But it is going to be tough because, as you mentioned earlier on, the guys from GT Temper and Undisputed AE are in these maps as well. The question is, are they in the mood to compete and suppress all the people behind them, or are they just going to come into these matches and just relax and say, whatever happens, we have definitely qualified for the next few rounds? So this is going to be very interesting to see. And Patchy, I want to get your thoughts on what you think some of these things have to do to really pull themselves up on the leaderboard today.
Well, I was actually just about to start talking about the same thing that you were just mentioning now. It's actually a case of, we've seen 4KT do a really good job of just like bringing things back, right? They did that in the previous iteration that we saw them in the previous weeks. They were able to get out of the relegation zone. They're still currently outside of it at the moment, but it's literally exactly what you said now. Are the teams that are sitting at the top of that list feeling up to the challenge? Do they want to suppress all the teams below them? That is the question, because if we see a G3 Temper, if we see an Undisputed AE, if we see even a Pain Africa stepping it up and just going ham in the lobby, it's going to be a tough time. 4KT are going to have their hands full in terms of what they have to get done. If not, if it's a case of, well, we're at the top of the leaderboard already, we can just sort of sit back and, chill, then it might be a little bit easier for 4KT to make something happen. Not that they need it, though, because 4KT have proven themselves quite capable. So perhaps they'll be able to make something happen either way. But I really do think it has a lot to do with how both of the teams, or both sets of teams, are actually feeling. Because I think 4KT have definitely shown us that they can deal with a lot of the teams at their sort of group range at the moment. So they've been able to beat the teams in their group. They've been able to beat the teams that are very close to them on the leaderboard. And they've actually been able to take on quite a number of teams that are quite a lot higher than them as well. But the question is, are they going to be able to beat the teams at the very top of the leaderboard? Which are the teams that they're going to be going up against? I'm not 100% sure. I don't know, because I kind of have faith in those teams. There's a reason that they're up there at the top. I like seeing those teams make it because they've shown us some really, really good stuff coming out there. The consistency has been, just thinking of UAE's consistency, they have been phenomenally consistent. Every single time we see them, it is always a top 3 finish every time. And they consistently get those kills as well, which means these guys are just keeping themselves up at the top. That's why they're sitting up in like second place at the moment. It's no coincidence. It's not, oh, wow, we didn't see that one coming. It's like, there's a reason that they're here. So I think it's really going to be a tough one for the likes of 4KT.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is about to kick off. As one of famous musicians said in Nigeria, it's about to go down. Ba-da-da. It is the first match of the day. The action begins, the fight for survival. I'll leave you in the very capable hands of DK and Patchy, and I will see you after the game.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Sid. It is map number 1. It is Erangel. It is the first game of the evening. And we've already got ourselves a flight path coming in from the northeast, down towards the south and towards that military base. Perhaps we will see some jumps down onto that island, earn themselves some nice and early patchy points, which they will not be able to redeem for anything except some hearts from me in the chat. Other than that, we'll have a look and see. Are these teams going to be able to make it to the top? Is 4KT going to be able to thrive? That is the question that we're asking, because they need to keep themselves out of the relegation. 4KT, as we mentioned, doing a huge job of getting out of that relegation zone in the previous weeks. Now they have to keep themselves out of it, and that is a job in and of itself. And then, of course, there are plenty of teams that still need to try and get out of that spot. And as I mentioned, there are a couple of teams that I would like to see making it out. And as we see our zone heading in towards the middle, I'm going to ask you, DK, which teams do you think you want to see getting out of that relegation at the moment?
I definitely say the players from Not Gaming, the players from Fear. They've really been showing some great bit of potential over the past few games that we've been watching them go through. So definitely hoping to see whether or not they can bring in that aggression. But of course, we don't see them really in today's game. So we got to jump up to the next ones in line there, which I definitely say, potentially even the Black Clovers, right? So there is a great bit of an opportunity here for the teams to come in and improve their stance on that leaderboard. And it's kind of a tune that we've been singing along for quite some time, but that is what we're waiting to see. It's just what the teams will bring. I mean, if they draw inspiration from the plays that we had coming in from 4KT, they know that there is definitely that opportunity, and they're going to make it so spicy if they step up and they bring their A game, trying to push up in it towards that promotion section, trying to get away from relegation. But as we know, it is human nature at times, people settle for something which they to themselves believe is out of reach for them. But as we've seen, it is completely still within reach. So I'm curious to see what the teams will bring and just how aggressive they are going to get and what level of gameplay they're going to be bringing us.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I think what you said earlier is actually super on point for this. I think it really is a case of the points that separate the teams that are sitting on that line, on that threshold between, getting relegated and making it through, making that promotion happen. It's very, very thin. It really is. I mean, the points separating, like you mentioned, Rainbow Six and Black Clover is literally 2 points. And with that in mind, I think it's definitely very possible, as you said, it's very much within reach for a team like, for instance, the Black Clovers or the Euphoric Gods or Fear even, and Not Gaming, who are all sitting very, very close to that 105 mark, that threshold that is currently sitting there. That could make something happen. The possibility is there, but the time is running out. That's what we're looking at the moment. The time is running out. We only have the games today. We've got the games tomorrow. And that is that. We're going to be moving on into the next round. So these teams really got to make the most of the time that they have out here. Of course, you can see on that map all the things happening. BBC, of course, over in towards Milton Power as they do. We've got G3 dropping north of that eastern bridge, which we see them off quite often. And some general drops all over the place. Scincerity picking up those patchy points down in that military island. And yeah, just pretty much a decent spread of teams all across the board. A nice centralized zone as well. So things are looking pretty easy in terms of there's no pressure coming out from the zones or flight paths or rotate. So there's no early pressure being put on the teams, but that just means they have to make it themselves. They've got to make the pressure themselves. They've got to get things done on this map, and we'll see if they can make that happen. As you can see, we already have a couple of teams that are nice and central. We've got Euphoric Gods up in school. We've got Pain Africa over in Pachinki there. So they've got some nice central positions as well. Lag also getting themselves up nice and central, making it nice and easy for those rotates to come through. And now I guess we just have to wait and see where the fights start to break out. I can see that George also looking pretty separate over there. We've only got Zero Tolerance skills up in the north and 4KT down in the south. I guess we'll have to keep our eye on 4KT to see if they are going to be performing here. I would hate to see them get knocked out early. We've seen it happen a couple of times where they do stumble. As you were talking about some, you can't always be perfect. You can't always have the perfect day, and sometimes we are just having a bad day. But hopefully for 4KT and for some of these other teams here, they're having a pretty decent day. They're going to be able to put some points on the board and make things happen.
Yeah, and all of that is going to rely on the skills that they've been able to acquire through playing, against their opponents here week after week, match after match. The teams are so accustomed to each other. I'm expecting to see great things come from this, and the team's really putting that information to good use and making the most of that, capitalizing on it and utilizing it to its fullest potential. So I'm hoping to see those really, really interesting plays come on through. But also, we see the players there from Pain as well as the team from Lag situated in close proximity over towards that central portion of the zone. So a few interesting potential fights could be breaking out in there as well, depending on how aggressive the teams intend to get today and how much they are looking to change up the leaderboard. Of course, also we see the players there from UAE as well as G3 positioned over towards that southeastern side in and around the Farm Malta region. So quite a few points of potential congestion, as we can see also now the players here from Rain from Hell jumping at the opportunity to try and put a quick few shots up ahead, as we did see the team there, I believe it was Young Thunder, we had just up ahead, quickly coming in with those rotations. And several of these teams have absolutely have an insane amount of ability, a lot of potential. We've seen them give us those little brief moments of those glimmering moments of insane plays come in, and I'm hoping to see a more stable build of that as the teams progress on through today's matches.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, as we wait and see if any of the fights are going to be happening here, maybe some potentially between Pain Africa and Rain from Hell, one thing I have to wonder, one thing I have to just sit and ask this question: how on earth do these players keep their hands warm, right? Like, I'm legitimately curious, because my hands are absolutely freezing at the moment. It is cold down here in the LZA. It's just absolutely freezing. Like, how do these teams keep their hands warm? Like slap bang in the middle of winter down here, and we having a bit of a tough time. And you gotta like move your fingers around. You gotta get the game on. Like 150% performance out here, and clicking all the buttons at rapid speed. My fingers would shatter.
Yeah, but Patchy, there's There's a certain dexterity that comes in if you know that the players start building up as they go through this. They've had so many matches. They already have so many matches under their name. Not only what we can see on the broadcast, but also what they've been putting in the classics, making their way through all the training, the practice, getting themselves ready and prepped up. By the time you get to this, you know, you don't have to wonder or worry about fingers that could potentially be snapping or cracking or even popping. You know, there's a lot of dexterity that has been built up, and I'm pretty sure there's a few interesting things that you know, some of the players utilize it to warm up their hands, especially the ones that are, you know, with us here in our lovely winter season.
So I honestly, I can't tell if you're suggesting that gamers have evolved hands that keep them warm in winter, or if we're, you know, if we're utilizing other devices such as, but not limited to, gloves. In any case, here we are. We finally got our zone. It's rotated down in towards the south. We have Scincerity still chilling on the island. And see, this is the benefits of dropping in Patchy's Island. It's literally, you get it for free. No one's coming to bother you, and you can just sit there for as long as you want. And if the zone permits, you can sit there for even longer than you want. You know, and have a nice camp. You know, set up your tents and you know, bring out the braai. Looks like Kage going to be running over Sully there in the kill feed. A little bit of a feels bad man for them. Zero coming to join the rest of the lag squad up here in this particular compound. Just going to be reinforcing the spot. Nothing too crazy happening over the rest of the map. The teams are just congregating a little bit. I think there was quite a bit of a congestion up towards the northern portion of the map. Some shots coming in. Sleepy finding a Rusty there, feeling Apex. A little bit disheveled. They're finally reinforcing themselves, getting themselves back together as Cold joins the crew. Shots coming out from Zero just across the way. You can see Inference Rage up ahead of them. They have a little bit of a divided attention because, of course, they have to deal with the one team on the one side and the other team on the other side. They do have a decent spot, though. Hainsley right up here with a little bit of a vantage point for the team. They have to utilize it, though, because there's not much in the way of cover otherwise. Kage trying to put the shots across, seeing those heads just pop out here and there, and he is trying to hit them. Jumping over the hill, bit of a jump spot there. See if you can spot anything out, but not able to hit anything just yet. So the skirmishers are beginning a couple of long-range shots here, and they're trying to get those picks. Kage going for it, just trying to keep the teams at bay. No one has decided to go in for the push just yet.
Well, of course, a lot of potential pushes can still come on through. And we see the players here from Inference Rage now just disengaging, heading a little bit further up north away from the zone, looking to secure their vehicles before potentially rotating on in. And I'm curious to see where the teams are going to be going, as we can see that eastern side is completely open, as well as a rather big chunk of the far down south there. And it's interesting to see the players already coming in with those rotations all the way off of that military island, as we do not know 100% just yet that the zone is in fact going to continue further up in towards the north. But in the meantime, we of course have the players here from Undisputed looking to apply the pressure towards the players here from Rain from Hell. Rain from Hell, of course, now being one of those teams in that danger zone, in the relegation zone. They are in dire need of points, and they are looking to try and improve their standings. But of course now, will they be able to get the job done here, as they choose to disengage from the play that we have, of course, with the players they're coming in from Undisputed, which is a good call. But how far away are they going to try and look to potentially move? Are they going to try and potentially bait out the players from Undisputed to try and rotate them in towards them and line up a few extra kills?
Yeah, that is the question. It's all about the big brain plays at this stage of the game. Undisputed AE with their control of the top of this hill have a pretty decent spot for vantage here, maybe overlooking some of the surrounding areas. I still want to see a couple of pushes coming through from some of these teams, but they're looking to find the foot in the door. That's the big problem. You need to make sure they have that foot in the door before you make a blind push. Obviously, you can't just, you know, push up all willy-nilly on your enemies like, hey, hello, we're here now. Although I suppose you could do that. We've seen it a couple of times, and it has worked out every now and then. So, I mean, you could, but you probably shouldn't. You know, maybe just get yourself a little bit of an advantage before you do that. Toss in a couple of nades, soften the enemies up, you know. Have a good time. At the moment, Undisputed AE still pulling a couple of shots all around the entire map, basically surrounding this hill, which is pretty good. You know, making sure they've got the pressure on the surrounding area. That is the the benefit of standing at the top of that mountain. And of mountains in general, the kill feed, you can see Lala going down. That's the comfy Cartel, getting a couple of bits of damage there. Lala was doing quite a bit, if I'm not mistaken, in the previous, yesterday, I think it was, in some of the previous games. We saw quite some performance coming through there. Maybe we'll see something come out again when Lala gets back up, potentially. Not sure. We'll have a look in that kill feed to see. Influence Rage looking into the surrounding area to see if they could spot anyone from Aphelion Apex out in the distance. But so far, the distances between these teams are pretty decent. No, Lala gonna get thirsted. Unlucky. Jin goes down as Rain from Hell taking 2 casualties there. Superior with that Mini 14 doing some work, as one generally does. Fantasy catching out El Chapo as Pain makes the rotate. That's a nice catch right there. That's a free kill for sure. Just has to make sure that the push doesn't come through Fantasy. Ooh, just keeping himself safe behind that door is gonna survive the first initial strike. Gonna be a tough one. Lag putting some shots now across the way. They've got some good positioning up here into their building. Kingerman trying to get some revenge here for that initial catch up, and they might just be able to capitalize on this. Eamon now coming on up. It's Pain Africa right up here with the best of them. Some nades coming through to do some damage. They're stacked up here against the side. Fantasy in a whole world of trouble, and indeed that nade is gonna catch him out, and well, that's a good bye to him. Hanad now up against the smoke, has to try and push out in towards Lag, but they have got themselves pretty much in a chokehold at the moment. Zero with a little bit of supporting fire from the other side. Beast now in the kill feed with some shots there. You can see Safwan going down from Lag there. Kingerman still keeping a lock on things in the building, taking a little bit of damage though, but it is fine for Pain Africa at the moment. They are succeeding in their push every single time. The strike has been working with Zero all the way on this side. It's, well, not much that they can do.
Man, this is looking to be pretty tough, but of course now the players here from the side of Lag Esports just trying to hold on that distance. You can see, of course, Zero positioned way off on the far end there, just trying to bring as much of a positional play in for his team. But what's interesting to see now is we've got 4KT and G3 up towards that potato hill, so quite a bit of interesting plays could come from that. But of course now G3 looking to see if they can pick off a few potential shots as they are waiting for those rotations to find their way on through. But 4KT just sneaking their way right out of there, pushing up in towards the zone. As you can see, Fex now of course heading up the charge as they are looking for a decent position to pull up in towards the zone. But I'm curious to see just how far down these teams are going to be rotating, because if they go too far down, we of course have that shoreline in the mix there, and it is a slightly exposed position. But now, of course, we see 4KT just scanning the perimeter here, looking to see if they can find those positions. But another team that is busy scanning it out is, of course, BBC. As we can see them exchanging a few hits with the players coming in here from Young Thunder. The Nox finding their way on through. Beautiful trade-off, but Falak already getting taken out, as we look to see whether or not Nihal will be able to close this one up, as well as find their heads on it to the players from Young Thunder up ahead.
Yeah, they definitely chose quite the team to mess with here. BBC with a pretty decent defense, and they've got a nice split going as well. So that's some nice angles that they could potentially leverage up against Young Thunder, who find themselves in a tough spot. In that kill feed, of course, you can see some shots absolutely flying. BBC putting some hits in. Lord trying to find a couple of the shots across the way. They've got a couple of teams to deal with here. Up in the distance, there's about 2 of them who are fighting one another. Kingerman putting the shots into G3 there. Buden going to be hitting the floor next. High going down as well as 4KT now taking a fight against Black Clover. Here's Nihal putting the shots in as well, keeping BBC safe for the time being. But can they deal with the push from the Euphoric gods? I think they might be able to. BBC have definitely proven themselves capable. Oh, a failed nade. That's a problem. That might just be a bit of an issue there, although still 2 players for BBC. They're certainly capable, but with 1 down, they're going to have a huge disadvantage in terms of what they're going to be able to pull off here, as the teams have absolutely rolled up. I mean, you can see on the minimap there's a whole bunch of them stacked up in this area.
Yeah, so many teams looking to push on in, and of course now BBC having a slight bit of regret there, as that nade didn't go exactly according to plan. But now we look to see whether or not the players here from Young Thunder will be able to hold on to their position. We got G3, of course, just up ahead. You can see Illusion slowly just tapping away, looking to find a few hits in the process. Of course, now Law and Lord, the two L's up on the roof here, looking to make a bit of a play. I don't think they're going to res up Nihal. You know, I think that's his punishment. Like, if you throw a nade like that, you gotta take what's coming to you. So, yeah, we're gonna see what exactly will lie in store for the players here from BBC, as they are definitely getting challenged for their position. A lot of teams in the region, quite a bit of contention coming in. We can even see the players now moving into the shacks. Any and every piece of hard cover they can find, that is where we see the teams trying to pull on into. And of course, now the players here from the Euphoric Gods also looking to make a bit of a play. They are down to a two-man team. Rain from Hell also not looking too fantastic. The health bars pretty low, as you can see. Arcus, they're not looking too great. Now, this is where we look to see what the teams will do, as that zone has shifted up once again, heading even further down south.
Yeah, what a tough time out here. Euphoric Gods just putting some shots on, but with that zone rotating down and towards the south and closing up, as you can see, it's absolutely becoming a bloodbath. G3 taking a couple of casualties, UAE as well in a spot. They're moving up in towards Influence Rage here. They should be good to go for the time being. Young Thundercats now under the fire of both Euphoric Gods and BBC. Rain from Hell in the same position. UAE gonna lose a member. Their potato goes down as they are continuously engaged in a tussle here. It's gonna be a difficult time though, because everyone has to still make the rotate up across that zone. So things are going to get really spicy really quickly. Flaco taking a lot of damage as he's jumping around, but that blue zone right on his heels. This is going to be a little bit of a problem now. They're going to be pushing up right into the crosshairs of Pain Africa, and this might just be done and dusted for G3 if Pain decides to do that gatekeeping. However, they also need to get the rotate, so they do make the smart decision. Head up into those vehicles and get their butts moving, because that is not a position you want to be in. G3 going to fall to the zone, and I think they might just be eaten up by that, because that blue's moving super fast, and it is doing some super damage as well. Tons of teams up here towards the north. We've got the Euphoric Gods deciding to get the rotate on as well, but they're getting punished for it. Damage being done, and Sunny trying to switch seats just to stay alive, and certainly a good decision, because he is going to survive for the time being. The shots coming through from all angles at the moment to try and catch them out, but they do make a successful rotate up into this disheveled shack right here. Black was taking a bit of damage as Sunny goes down from Euphoric Gods. Scincerity keeping themselves alive as well. Kage up here on to the one side, just barely over the line, along with the rest of Aphelion. Apex pushing up in towards Influence Rage as well. The shots come through, and Sully does go down. Cold going to catch a bit of a problem as well. Leaks hitting the deck as the Beast puts the shots in, but here comes the blue as well to put some more pressure in. We still have 14 teams and 34 players, but you wouldn't believe it based on how small the zone is. But there come the shots. Kage goes down. 4KT keeping themselves in this one. They're trying to make the performance happen. They're trying to put the points on the board. That's the team that we need to keep our eye on right there, because they have to keep themselves just floating above that watermark of relegation zone. Influence Rage here on the one side. Sleepy trying to put some shots in. Zero camping out in this building to try and keep the hopes and dreams of Aphelion Apex alive, as Kage, of course, is going to go down. Zero is still trying to survive. The door in front of him just going to shatter into a million pieces as everyone is looking in his direction to try and catch him out. Oh, and the zone moving up again, becoming so much smaller, and this is going to be absolute chaos.
Well, it's going to be chaos indeed for a lot of these teams. And we can see, of course, the players here from 4KT position down in to the south of that zone. Quite a bit of congestion also still happening up in towards the north. So curious to see what will happen as the players are going to go through the paces here. Undisputed now trying to hold on into the north as Young Thunder comes rolling on up, looking to come rolling with the Thunder here. Finding the shots in towards Sahil, finding the shots into Potato. It is up to Inspector to land the finishing blows. And of course now Law gets up with a beautiful opportunistic play right there up on that little patio. And of course it is the end of Undisputed. Right back into the lobby they go. But Young Thunder also not taking quite of a beating, and we see Kingerman here from Pain just creeping up onto the edge of that zone, looking to hold on, looking to hold strong. But of course now we still have 9 other opposing teams as Law is laying down the law onto Young Thunder, finding the shots and just going to town. Now securing themselves, the team there are the really good amount of kills, already 3 on the board. Rotating up into that zone, looking to find a good position and bring in even more kills.
Yeah, BBC hanging on by a thread and almost getting taken down, almost getting caught out, but the Bugatti and the Rock, of course, going to be just enough to block some of those damages. 6 teams remaining, 14 players left alive as the shots come through high, goes down, the Black Clover is getting hit. At the moment, Pain Africa on the screen, they're just barely across that line inside this zone. Everyone squeezing up nice and close, packed like sardines into this zone at the moment. What a tough time these players, but 4KT still alive, still on the board, still afloat at the moment. Picking up 5 kills for themselves, a really good amount of kills for them. Of course, making it up into 6th place is going to give them some pretty good points, but they want to make it up further. They want to get as many as possible. Certainly, they're going to be fighting for it. Influence Rage here on the one side, eastern side of this tiny little zone, trying to stay alive. Everyone is putting the shots through. The smokes getting popped now. Vision being obscured. Is it going to be enough? Shots from Kingerman. They are landing. A little bit of damage being done, but no kills, no knocks just yet. We still have 11 players alive. 5 teams on the board. The explosion from the vehicle is going to be enough. There goes the knock. That's going to be a bit of a tough one to come back from, considering if you try and make a rotate to go and save your team, if you try and push up, you get instantly clapped, and there's 0. Getting taken down. 4KT picking up another kill for themselves. Now they're sitting on 7 kills in total, which is certainly quite a considerable amount. The shots flying through, the damage flying through, the nades coming through, everything looking absolutely tough. 4 teams remaining. 4KT stacked up inside the Broken Shack, which has been changing ownership ever since. Law will go down, so that's BBC wiped off the board, and with that, we are in our top 3 teams. It's 4KT still stacked up here in this building with their HP just barely over the mark, getting themselves healed up. Are they going to be able to contend? Because, of course, Pain Africa still alive here, and they do have some decent numbers. 3 players left alive on their team, which is certainly more than 4KT have potentially stacked up in that building. They do have 3 players in total, but a little bit separated. Aimer putting the shots in, finds Kingdom, and that's a good start. Trying to have to find a couple more of those, though. 4KT going to be spreading out just a little bit to cover a little bit more ground. Influence Rage now pushing through. Oh, Sleepy just getting damaged across the way. That's not a great spot to be, and no cover to utilize. The Beast goes down to Influence Rage push, but that might just have sealed the deal as Pain go down. Influence Rage in the perfect position for 4KT to strike. If they make it happen now, they could just end this one with a chicken dinner straight off the bat.
Oh man, they are definitely going to be trying, but of course it is far from over. It is the final showdown though, as the final bit of pressure is mounting. It is 10 kills up against 7 kills. Now, of course, in favor of the players coming in there from Influence Rage. And Influence trying to show as much as possible influence in this match. It is a 3v3 fight to the chicken dinner. Of course, the players there from 4KT trying to make their push up from that southern position. We have Influence Race positioned up in the north. They do have a player knocked on their side. As you can see, Hainsley now trying to crawl all the way back up in to get that res through. Sleepy and Mercury now looking to hold down the fort as they wait to see what Hainsley will do. But of course, now we see the 4KT team putting the shot straight on in Aimer. Now also getting ready to push in that blue zone, about to close all the way on up. We should see the next phase popping, but I don't think it is going to matter at all, as this now is down to the final straw, the final draw. Sleepy and his teammate just up ahead, as we can see Mercury getting taken out. 4KT get hit as well. Beautiful exchange, beautiful back and forth, and it is done. 4KT come in with the chicken dinner, taking it home and taking 10 kills alongside with that. Influence Rage finishing up in second, also finishing on 10 kills. Absolutely insane.
Oh yeah, absolutely insane coming through there, and certainly that is exactly what 4KT needed to start things off today on these 3 games, taking map number 1 with a chicken dinner and a considerable number of kills. Influence Rage, of course, in second, and Pain in third. But man, for 4KT, that is going to be a huge relief in terms of pressure, because I'm not sure if any other teams will be able to contend with their spot. I think 4KT may have just solidified their safety.
It is very, very possible, but of course, you know, we're looking to see a continuation on that. One game is not enough, as we've seen now. A lot can change in one single game, so they have to be consistent throughout the day. Not only looking to secure their position, but also potentially looking to increase their position on that overall leaderboard. There's so many slots for them still to climb, as we saw that 9-point jump, the 9 slots jump coming in just off of the back of last week's game. So there's a great potential still for them here today and this weekend as well to try and improve their points and their standing even more so.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a little bit more potential for them. And I think, you know, as you mentioned, one game can pretty much change anything. But as for 4KT, I think they've shown that they're very capable to go up against some of these real top teams, you know, these heavy hitting teams out here. I think they've definitely proven that they are quite capable of that. And I really think that if consistency is what we're looking for here, I think 4KT will be able to bring that to the table. I don't think they'll have any trouble doing that. Of course, you know, we still have games. We still have games coming up, so it's yet to be seen. We will see if they can make it happen. But of course, with that said and done, we have 2 more matches coming up, Sanok being the next one. So that is coming up very, very soon. So do not go anywhere. We will be right back after this short break. Or will we?
Don't know.
I don't know. Or maybe maybe we'll stare into one another's eyes longingly as we talk.
It's gonna...
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Umzansi Esports League Season 3. We have just had Game 1, and it was a romp with 4KT taking the win. It is a PUBG Mobile segment. My name is Dr. Sid here with DK and Patchy. We have got some news for you. And what is that news? It's leaderboards. It's people, names, numbers, logos. Let us take a look at the leaderboard after Game 1. Patchy, take it away.
Oh man, I'm still trying to emotionally recover from that outro before we get to the break. All right, let's get into the leaderboards here. Of course, it's 4KT sitting at number 1. You know, did we ever doubt it? I don't know. Maybe I did for just a little bit, but I'm not sure if I do anymore. 25 points coming out of that game to set up there in first place. Influence Rage going to take second place, coming in with the 2 plus the 10 kills, giving them a total of 22 points there. Pain Africa coming in third place with 18 points there. Fourth place is BBC. In fifth place, we've got Aphelion Apex. In sixth, we've got Black Clover. 7, Undisputed AE. 8, we've got Young Thundercats. So, of course, a pretty decent amount of points coming through for a lot of these teams, and especially, of course, for 4KT, who certainly needed them quite a bit. Moving on to the second page, the Comfy Cartel coming in 9th place. Scincerity Esports coming in 10th. Lag Esports coming in 11th, all with 3 points each. Zero Tolerance and Rain from Hell coming in 12 and 13 with 2 points apiece. G3 coming in 14th with 1 point. Euphoric Gods in 15 with 1. And, of course, the Drogons are coming in at 16. So there it is. It is what it is. And yeah, it is 4KT taking a pretty good win.
It is 4KT taking it. And me, I'm just excited because I'm like, you know what? It's nice to see the boys put that story that we were so excited about talking about and bring it to life. Like, this is a point where it's going to be very difficult for them not to make it into the next round. And that's just a beautiful comeback story to see. You know, now we're wondering if guys like Fear can do the same thing and not gaming probably and come out as well. Let's get some people. Let's shake up the table and shake up the leaderboards. So we've got 2 more matches to go. It's Sandhawk and Erangel. We have G3 Temper playing today, if I'm not mistaken. So we do know that they do well usually on Miramar. Undisputed AE is in the mix as well. What do you think is going to happen in Sandhawk, DK? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I'm hoping to be completely wrong, but you know, with what I would have said, but what I'm definitely hoping to say here is that you know, I'm hoping to see the players from either the Comfy Cartel step up and bring home an absolutely banger of a game. They are so close to making it out of relegation, right? If you look at the points, there's still not a big point difference to get out of that danger zone. One good game, like we had, for instance, just now, with the teams being able to secure a really decent amount of kills as well as those placement points, that is all that is needed to bring in, you know, and increase your stance on that overall leaderboard. But of course, whether or not the players there from Black Clover or even the Euphoric Gods will be able to secure themselves, I don't know. This is where the pressure is on. You know, this is where we don't worry about our first page or even the first half of that second page. We're looking to see that second half of the second page as well as the complete last page, what these teams will bring in, who will be able to secure those positions from 13th down to 16th. It is going to be an absolute tough battle. And I mean, even looking at where the position is of the team there from Scincerity, we have them currently sitting over in 15th place, but again, not a lot of points separating these teams.
Well, we're going to see who's going to get the points and move up the leaderboard as we take you into the close quarter conundrum that is Sandhawk. Ladies and gentlemen, it's DK, it's Patchy. Take it away, guys.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sid. This is map number 2. This is Sandhawk. And of course, it is going to be some of that serious action coming through as we usually expect from this particular map. Decent flight path there, going to give nice access. No real troubles in that department. We really just have to see whether or not the zone drop is going to be kind, and then of course we'll work our way out from there. All right, you know what I was thinking actually just now? It was just an interesting thought that I was just haven't. Well, imagine if 4KT not only makes it up into the next round, but imagine if 4KT comes and goes to win the entire thing, the entire Umzansi for this season. How crazy would that be?
That would be a comeback story of note. Not gonna lie, that would be pretty cool to see. But of course, what's also going to be quite interesting is that as we move into the finals, the teams are coming in on a clean slate. So this is where they have that opportunity to show us what they've got. For the time being, they need to do enough to make it up into that promotional section to secure themselves a position in that top 16. So, I mean, if any of the other teams, any of the opposing teams decide to step on up and bring the pressure, bring the gameplay in these 2 last remaining days, they still have that opportunity to kick 4KT right back down the list. But of course, it comes down to the mentality, the decision-making on these teams, and whether or not they come in aggressive enough looking to bring those upsets into the leaderboard.
Yeah. So the other thing that I was actually wondering now is we were talking about how it's possible for the teams that are playing at the top of the list to really, you know, press down and suppress the abilities for 4KT to actually move up that leaderboard and keep themselves out of the relegation. But if you think about it, it's also the teams that we're not seeing today that actually have an impact on that score, because if they're playing tomorrow, then there's still a potential that they might be able to put the required number of points on the board to overtake and you know, put the pressure on in that respect. So there is always that potential as well. Whether that's going to happen or not, though, I'm not sure. I think 4KT has proven themselves, you know, sort of separated themselves from the rest of the group where they sit at the moment on that leaderboard. You know, I think they've shown us that they can very much easily get out of that spot. I think it's just a matter of them actually going and doing it. So I don't think there's that much threat as there would be, but it's certainly still a possibility to consider that, you know, if they're not, even if the teams that are not playing today still have a bit of an impact on that overall leaderboard.
Yeah, and I mean, as we know, it ain't over till it's over, right? Until that final chicken dinner is won, in tomorrow's final game. That is when we'll know for sure who will be making it up. So quite a lot can change. I mean, we've got 5 games, including this match that we are in right now. 5 more matches for these teams to step up and bring in those necessary or required points. But of course, it depends on how bad they want it, Batchy. If they want to move into the finals, they will bring the gameplay and deliver with the action. And I mean, if they don't want it bad enough, we unfortunately won't be seeing the teams move on through into that promotion, into that promotional section. So yeah, there is quite a bit of pressure on the teams, especially the ones who are looking to bring those upsets. And I mean, what better map do they want other than Sanhok to do exactly that, to step up, bring the aggression, bring up the upsets, and rake in a few more points?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, if there was ever a map that traditionally we see that happen a lot, it's this one right here, Sanhok. Some crazy stuff has happened on this map before, and we certainly don't doubt that it can happen again. Now with the zone all the way up in towards the north, we already have G3, Rain from Hell, Zero Tolerance, and 4KT sitting in towards bootcamp in a very central location. Quite a number of teams moving in from the south. You can see the comfy Cartel up with Pain, as well as Euphoric Gods towards the southern portion of the zone. Then, of course, UAE and Aphelion Apex down in towards the south. They also need to make their rotate up. They're the only 2 teams, except for Black Clover off in the west, that also need to make their way just across that line, just barely make it in there. And they should have enough space for the time being. Of course, all the teams utilizing this time for preparation, utilizing this time for the looting, making sure they're getting set up, because, and actually, I think it's the most important part of this entire procedure, because I think it becomes, once the game starts speeding up, it becomes very, very difficult to step back and go, ooh, we need some loot, or ooh, we need some bullets, or, you know, we need, you know, meds, or whatever the case is. You know, you don't really have time to do that. You don't really have the gap to do that. So you really have to get everything done and dusted now in the early phases of the game before you move on, because it's going to be, once the pressure rises, it's just going to be on the whole way through. It's going to be non-stop action. It's going to be all the stuff happening all the time, rotations, fighting, you know, utility, all that kind of stuff is just going to be happening again and again and again with barely any room to breathe, really. So super, super important for these teams to make sure that they are set up and ready to go. And G3 already going to be pulling the trigger here. And it's going to be taking out one player there from the Young Thundercats. So G3 just doing what they do. This is a long-range engagement. And of course, trust G3. Leave it to G3 to find the long-range engagements on a CQC-style map. Straight off the bat, Tigress going to be rolling up, picking up some kills there, getting some loot. So already we've got a couple of skirmishes. We've got a couple of picks as well. Good to see. And I think that is going to be pretty much the name of the game. It's going to be hit and run. It's going to be finding the picks. It's going to be trying to get yourself as many points as possible as you move through what is and can only be described as a really crazy map.
Yes, sir, indeed. It is a crazy, crazy map with a crazy amount of possibilities lying ahead for several of these teams to bring in some really strong points. But of course, now we look to see exactly where they are going to be going. We have a few seconds still left while this blue zone is closing on up before we see where the next zone, the next phase will be taking us. And this is where the teams can use the opportunity, of course, to try and set themselves up. As we can see already, that centralized portion of the zone looking pretty jam-packed. We've got G3, Rain from Hell, as well as a few other teams positioned in the vicinity. And this is now where we see those shots come flying over from the players here of G3, as we, of course, have the team from Young Thunder positioned behind the rock just up ahead of them there. So Flacco looking to potentially pick up a little smidgen of damage there. I don't think it's going to be too easy. It is quite the ranged attack. And I mean, the M4 is not the most ideal weapon for those ranged assaults. But if it is possible, we'll definitely see it happen as Superior and Illusion now looking to put a little bit of distance in. And, of course, looking to rotate the slight away just to get out of harm's way.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. Got to do whatever you can to get out of that position. Gunner still putting those long-range shots across. G3 just going ham here with those engagements. Young Thundercats trying to respond as well. But, I mean, if there's ever been a king of long-range engagements, G3 have certainly proven themselves to be very capable, at least in contention for that title. And despite their performances, you know, being a little bit of a wavy up-and-down performance over the last couple of weeks, they've certainly not lost that title of theirs, that at least contention for that title. They're very capable, especially with those long ranges. As we've seen, as Dr. Sitter pointed out, you know, we're waiting to see them in Miramar up in the next map, see what they can do with that. But for now, it's CQC up here on Sandhawk as the zone has decided to shift on up. So we will be losing those long ranges momentarily. Of course, as we head in towards maybe zones 2 and 3, we'll start to lose the long ranges and we'll head more into the CQC that Sandhawk is known for. For now, we've got quite a number of teams in the surrounding area towards boot camp, and then, of course, just in general area around Quarry. So a pretty good concentration of teams in the middle. That bodes well for future fights. Certainly, it is looking to be quite chaotic. I mean, if the zone decides to shift north from here, all of those teams down in the south are going to have to rotate up, and it is going to be, well, it's going to be a little bit of a tough time for any of the teams that are not going to find themselves immediately inside that zone, because then the gatekeeping is going to come through. Then the choices of how on earth do we get inside the zone are going to have to be made. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. As we see time and time again, it is tough. It is really tough. A lot of these teams struggle when it comes to trying to push through, especially in a map as small as this one. In Miramar, it's fine. You know, it's only zone 2 or zone 3. It's fine. Just take the long way around. But in Sandhawk, there is no long way around. The long way around still has somebody on it, at least 2 or 3 other teams in that direction. So there is no long way around. It's just you go here, there's 3 teams in front of you. You go there, there's 3 teams in front of you. You just have to go across the line and see if you survive. So, yeah, we'll have a look and see where that zone decides to go.
Yeah, well, sometimes, you know, if you're unlucky, no matter where you go, the same 3 teams you run into is the same 3 teams across the board. So, you know, you got to see how that one pans out. But, I mean, the zone shifted up beautifully in favor of that boot camp position. And now we look to see just exactly where the teams are going to try and position themselves in anticipation of a potential boot camp finish. You can see, of course, the players here from Young Thunder keeping a very watchful eye there on the team from BBC. And actually, legend has it that, you know, the map here of Sanhok is known as the House of BBC. So I'm curious to see what BBC will bring in this map, as they have a few contenders looking to challenge them now.
You know, I want to question I want to question your historical sources on this one. No, I've never heard that particular name being utilized, but we'll see. Maybe it's true. Maybe the sages, the wise sages in the north, have brought us this quality information here. BBC taking quite a bit of damage, or luckily taking a little bit of damage. He goes down. Lord now coming in for the rescue to try and save the team, or the teammates at least here. Young Thundercats have managed to stay alive for the time being, considering the pressure is now absolutely building. BBC potentially going to be wiping them out. In the meantime, Scincerity also taking some shots in towards Undisputed AE. Young Thundercats now under pressure. Is BBC going to prove the sages wise and true, or are they going to be taken out right here, right now by the Young Thundercats? We are about to find out. The shots come through from Adam. It's not going to land. Lots of damage coming in from the back. He has to charge straight into the house. That's a kill zone. You can't do that. Instantly goes down, and BBC have this one on lock. It should be pretty easy from here on out, as the thirst does come through onto Adam's Lord now coming around the side, instantly putting the shots in. Is he going to pay for it? No. Illusion goes down, and that's done and dusted. Young Thundercats not going to be able to survive the assault. So maybe the sages are right. Maybe the legends are true.
Yeah, we don't know. Of course, Patchy, we'll be finding out soon as we progress through these phases. But now we see G3 moving in, looking to bring in a few of those disruptions. Of course, they are in a very, very comfortable position on that leaderboard. So they are pretty much free to do as they please. They can rush up, get foolish, do whatever the heck they want. The same, of course, here for the players from Undisputed. But now we look to see what they're going to do with the team from Scincerity positioned right up ahead. A lot of potential here for some interesting players again to come on in. And now Rogue and Silent getting caught on this one offside. So they do have a 2-2 split kind of coming in here. But of course, though, they do have the rest of the team moving in for those reinforcements. There's going to be quite a bit of a fight. As we can see, Silent now picking up that knock on towards Potato. It is now up to Inspector, Matrix, and Sahil to make the final stand for the side here of UAE. As Scincerity comes pushing in, looking to apply a little bit of pressure here.
I'm so confused right now. I never expected this to be happening, but here it is. I'm about to say it. Scincerity putting the pressure onto Undisputed AE. Undisputed AE, maybe not so undisputed after all. Maybe they were lying to us with their name. We're about to find out. Scincerity putting the damage in. Rogue absolutely burning Inspector alive. Potato trying to stay alive. The spray coming through to try and knock Scincerity as they put the assault on, but Scincerity not letting up. Sneaks goes down. Rogue now has to deal with a ton of crawling teammates. Potato with barely any HP remaining, trying to get the res up on his teammate. He will be able to make it happen, and this might be the clapback from UAE. That Molotov, huge, gonna just burn them alive, set them on fire. Crispy bacon is the answer for Scincerity, and indeed, Undisputed AE will remain undisputed for the time being. That was almost a terrible end for Undisputed AE.
Yeah, but it's good to see Undisputed just closing the oven door there. I mean, sometimes that's all you got to do. If it gets a little bit too hot, you know, just close up the door. It'll make sure the flames kind of put themselves out. And that is exactly what we saw now in favor of UAE, as they quickly extinguish the players from Scincerity. But now that zone having shifted over towards the west once again, now prompts the teams to come in with their rotations. We can see Lag and Rain from Hell also right there side by side. But 4KT holding on to that boot camp position. Zero Tolerance, BBC, as well as G3 also now positioned onto the edge of the zones. We can see the hits starting to fly on through. And G3 getting caught in that sandwich, a very uncomfortable sandwich to be in. And it is going to be quite a bit of a fight for them to try and make their way on through. But here we go now. This, of course, as the legend has it, is the map for BBC. So let's see whether or not BBC will step up and prove that right.
Yeah, we will wait and see. BBC right up against G3 head-to-head. BBC do have a good position, but it's the Mollies again that are just coming in clutch for these teams. Lord are going to have to just retreat straight away. Do not want to contend with those Molotovs, with those perfectly placed, well-thrown Molotovs. I mean, man, this game has just seen some pretty good Molotovs. I hope we see a few more. G3, of course, not quite happy with just getting the Molotov. No. They want to come up. They want to get the kills as well. They want to press the attack all the way through. Mercury in the kill feed is going to go down as G3 do put the shots in towards Influence. Rage just off to the side. Mercury does go down to Rush as well. A Zero Tolerance also making a push. G3 still up here on towards the hill, looking to see if they can put a couple of those long-range engagements on. They are in a bit of a precarious position because they have to worry about the teams in the distance as well as the teams up ahead and behind them. So there is a little bit of a tough time prepared for them. But if they can handle it, certainly G3 could make it happen. The kill feed Matrix going down to 4KT. El Chapo going to hit the deck as well as the Euphoric Gods put the shots in. 4KT doing the same. Kingerman going to go down as the assault comes through. And here comes G3 pushing up in towards BBC. Now not going to be able to take it. Lord is the next to fall. Is he going to be able to make it happen? No. G3 just pushed off the angle for a little bit as those shots come through far and wide. So their assault will be quelled for the time being. For Luck now trying to hold on for the team as him and Lord are a little bit separated, but this is what I like from BBC. They've done this relatively often. They have a nice teamwork split they've got going here, where one of the team's players is always in a good overwatch position to make sure that he can lay covering fire down for the rest of the team, and that is what's kept them alive so far in this match. Is it going to be enough, though? That's the real question. Of course, with that blue zone closing up, you can see it just off onto the distance there. Closing up, all these teams are safe for the time being, but the new zone about to get chosen, it's going to shift on up as well. Things are going to get a whole lot more difficult because G3 and BBC, all of these teams are indeed going to have to rotate. They are not safe for the time being. And with 40 seconds still left, they're going to have to get themselves moving real quick. Oh, Gunner comes around the corner and just instantly nailed by Falak. He's just not even given a chance to breathe there. He's just like, you know, let's see what's on the other side of this rock. Oh, just get a bullet to the face, and that's how it goes. Now G3 pushing on up, trying to get some momentum down on towards BBC. The BBC have made sure they are still having this mountain on lock at the moment. Buden now going to be moving up. Lord has to prepare for the assault. Is he going to be able to make it happen? Here goes the first one, but it's just a bait. Here comes Buden. He's able to land the shots. He will be able to do just that. But the covering fire from Falak is not enough. Buden now shifting his attention towards that window, trying to put the fire down and suppress BBC Falak from making it happen. Lord just on the other side, trying to keep a weather eye out. But man, I don't think there's going to be able to be any chance to come back in this. The thirst comes through, and now Falak under pressure because the zone has started to move, and G3 will certainly be on the hunt. He has to get out of there.
Yeah, it is going to be a pretty tall order, and of course now this is their home ground, according to our philosophers. And now we see the players here from G3 just showing up with the aggression, applying the pressure, putting the shots into Falak and sending them right back up into the lobby. You are asking what is behind the rock? It is the lobby, Patchy. That is definitely what you find behind all these rocks. And now we look to see what the side here of Zero Tolerance will be doing. We have them positioned again on the edge of that zone, but quite a few teams, in fact, positioned right there just on the outlying reaches of the zone. So I'm curious to see who's going to be the brave ones to try and venture further down in towards the zone. We already saw 4KT once again, of course, having that position up in towards boot camp, and so far the zone is working out very favorably for them. But we still have 10 teams remaining, as we can see the players there from the Euphoric Gods, of course, now turning their attentions over towards the team there from Comfy Cartel, and Influence Rage also just off in the distance, positioned up in towards the north. Lag and so many other teams all taking quite a bit of fire, but it is only going to get tougher from this point forward as we are now moving into our fifth phase. 10 teams remaining, 34 players still alive. The pressure is on, the game is on, and now we look to see who will come out victorious. That chicken dinner, that winner chicken dinner, of course, up for grabs. And the teams really now getting caught on the off guard as Comfy Cartel are just all nice and snowed up in and behind these rocks here.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty comfy Cartel if I've ever seen one. I mean, if you ever want to set something up like that, just get a nice big cuddle stack and see what happens. For the time being, though, Fantasy going to be pushing up towards the top. Shylock lands the shots. The blue zone is going to be a little bit too much to handle. Zero now on the top here. Also has to worry about the blue zone shifting up very soon. 30 seconds left before this becomes a huge problem. They're going to keep themselves alive for the time being. So F1 just taking a bit of a peek there, trying to see if he can spot anyone out, but no one out just yet. The res will be able to come through as well. Lag just jumping on the rocks towards the side of this cliff here in what is a very difficult spot. G3 now trying to land some nades up onto that comfy Cartel, and Squeak made very uncomfy as those nades come through and just absolutely bomb Squeak out of existence. This time it's not going to be a car running Squeak over. It is just going to be nades raining down on the head of Squeak. Tigress now trying to put the shots in, but instantly replied to G3. Not a team that you want to take an aim battle with, because they win it every time. And there it is, the proof. They just absolutely hammer away. The bullets about to come through as G3 continue to push up. In they come, and Cartel in a bit of a tough spot now inside the blue zone, trying to fight with G3. Not the greatest spot to be in. Lala trying to make a dash for it, but low HPs abound. And it's just not going to be enough to take on the likes of G3, and they will come through with that win in that duel up against the comfy Cartel. Now, 8 teams remaining, 23 players are left alive. 0 gets taken out by the play zone. 6 will be able to get the healing ups. G3 will be able to maintain their numbers. 3 players in their for their team here, coming in strong for them. 8 teams, as I mentioned, remaining. 0 tolerance. 1 of them just making it across that line for the time being. Bjorn goes down as Pablo putting the shots in. The Euphoric Gods trying to punish G3 as they make their rotate in towards the zone. Flaker goes down as well. This might be a bit of a problem. 4KT now also have to make the rotate, but they have to fight through boot camp to be able to make into the safe zone, and that's a bit of a problem. G3 getting taken down. That is certainly not what we expected. 0 tolerance going to be putting the nails in their coffin, and the rotates need to come in once again as the zone has moved up towards the northwest. Things are going to be tough for these teams because they have to fight through one another to be able to make that rotate.
Man, this is looking to be a pretty spicy fight, especially right here up in towards boot campers. We've got 0 tolerance and 4KT in contention for the victors here of the boot camp region, and of course all the control that comes along with it. This is a beautiful position to be set up in. As you can see, of course, it allows quite a bit of access to that western side of the zone as well. So now let's see what will happen as we see Aimer now cooking up a few nades, getting ready to send a few over, and of course now Vortex being able to evade the insane damage that follows when those nades come through, but of course sends up a beautiful one in response. 0 tolerance now looking to apply the pressure on towards 4KT, as 4KT has been reduced down to 2 players. Rush now also just rushing in. Vortex and Skydo keeping those off angles sorted, making sure they have as much of it covered as they possibly can. But a beautiful barrage of those utils now finding their way straight on up in towards 4KT. And this could potentially be where we see the players here from 0 tolerance getting the wipe in on 4KT.
It might just be, and those shots are ringing out, and they will find their mark here. Absolute chaos for them. 4KT trying to keep themselves alive, and it's just not good enough. 4KT on dangling by a thread at this point. HP is looking super low. Neon going to go down in the meantime as 0 tolerance putting the damage in. Here comes Hates looking for anything that he can find potentially. Also looking in towards the Euphoric God. Sunny does go down as Hates does land the shots in there. He is absolutely aiming true through the smoke at the moment. The spray is gonna be enough. Down they go. Hates will pick that up. 4KT get absolutely slaughtered here. 0 tolerance. Absolutely 0 tolerance indeed. 4 teams remaining now. 9 players left alive. 0 tolerance have control of this zone as well. Rain from Hell in a bad spot. HPs are low. There goes Safwan, and this might just be done and dusted. 0 tolerance, I think, could probably just take the chicken dinner right here, because everyone else is in a horrible position. The blue zone's moving up. Nobody has HP. Nobody has angles. Nobody has time to make anything else happen. I don't even know if they're going to be able to make it into the zone at this point.
It is going to be quite the tall order, and of course this could be the potential 3rd chicken dinner coming in for the players here from 0 tolerance, as they now look to extend their dominance. So they only have 1 player to go up against, and they find the shots. A very, very easy finish right there for them. 0 tolerance, of course, finishing off there with 11 kills alongside their chicken dinner. What a way to boost the team morale with a play like that. Of course, Rain from Hell securing themselves that 2nd place, getting in some really much needed points alongside the 2 kills they were able to secure there as well. And then, of course, Lag Esports coming in to that 3rd position, 3 kills to their name, and a really valiant effort coming in from Rain from Hell, especially in this one.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Unfortunate that 4KT couldn't make it up into the top 3, but at least they tried. They put in an effort. Certainly well played to Zero Tolerance. They found themselves in a brilliant spot and they leveraged it absolutely perfectly there in towards the end. So what a crazy second game. What a crazy Sandhawk that we generally expect there. But certainly always good to see.
Always good to see. Big shout out to Zero Tolerance Skills there. Gameplay on point. I can't even fault them. I think they did absolutely brilliantly well. Even when they came up against 4KT, did really well, taking out teams around them. Very big shout out to Rain from Hell, because they put in a good performance as well. I'm very curious to see how many points they make. So endings get updated and we see the movement that happens. It's just going to add to the excitement that is the semifinals, which is what we're looking at. But I want to ask a question, DK, for you. Like, who was your standout team or player in this particular map?
I gotta say, the players coming in there from Zero Tolerance, just the way that they handled that whole situation with 4KT, they just came swooping in with such an amount of aggression, just applying the pressure continuously, and of course it paid off, and it resulted in them grabbing that chicken dinner at the end. Yeah, a really, really well-deserved chicken dinner for Zero Tolerance.
Yeah, so the barrage of nades just going into the room, just really changing up the way. It's like having loud noises when you're trying to go to sleep. You literally have to keep your head moving when you just hear boom, 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 boom. But it was a really it was really sad to see BBC go out early. Patchy, as the legend has it, they are the Sandhawk is their hometown, but we didn't really see a lot of that, and I think they really tried, but G3 was just a bit too hungry. Now let's take a look at the updated standings for Game 2.
Yeah, let's take a peek at those leaderboards there. That briefly after game 11, that's what we are looking at here, B versus C. It's Zero Tolerance, of course, coming in number 1 after taking that chicken dinner, plus 11 kills for them, which is nuts. 26 points in total. Rain from Hell coming in second place, 14 points for them. Lag Esports in third with 13 points, followed very closely by Slime 4KT, picking up 12 points there in fourth place. Black Clover coming in fifth place with 10. Euphoric Gods also with 10 in 6, and G3 as well in 10, well, with 10 in 7th position. Undisputed AE coming in 8th with 5 points for them. So a lot of the big names still making it up onto that first page, but certainly not finding the spot that they wanted. But I mean, that's the name of the game when it comes to Sandhawk anyway. Next page, of course, it is Aphelion Apex in 9th place with 4, as well as BBC with 4 points. They're in 10th place. Comfy Cartel coming in 11th. Influence Rage in 12th. Scincerity in 13. We've got the Drogons in 14. Young Thundercats in 15. And Pain in 16, all with 0 points apiece, of course. But man, yeah, definitely a little bit of a struggle for the likes of BBC, and unfortunately for teams like Scincerity, taking fights with Undisputed AE and just not being able to make it happen. It was a very, very close fight, but unfortunately, it did not come through. And I mean, that's just the name of the game. Definitely kudos for trying, though. That is a big task. I mean, you challenge the guys sitting all the way at the top of the leaderboard. That's actually exactly what I want to see a little bit more of. I think that brings, I mean, even the fact that that push was a fail overall, that's the kind of thing that builds your skill. That's the kind of thing that you learn from a whole lot more. I want to see pushes like that coming through from some of the teams. I mean, what have they got to lose at this point? Make it happen. See what you get, because ultimately, even if you lose, you learn so much. And the more you do it, the better you get at it, and maybe you'll start toppling the giants.
Well, toppling is what we're hoping will happen. Some people will be toppled up, some people will be toppled down, and some out altogether. We will be right back after this break with some more PUBG Mobile action. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is the Umzansi Esports League Season 3 brought to you by Northern Gaming. My name is Dr. Sid, and I'll be your captain for the rest of the night. We have had some amazing games going on Arango and Sandhawk, and we are ready for Miramar. But I'm not alone on this journey. I'm here with two gentlemen, DK and Patchy, all the way. I'm going to take you all the way to the end of tonight and the whole weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a quick recap of what happened after game two.
Damn, I was falling asleep there, Dr. Sid. What a soothing voice to my ears. Of course, heading into our standings after that game, it's Zero Tolerance Skills sitting in number 1 with 26. Raiden from Hell in number 2 with 14 points there. Lag Esports in position number 3 with 13. Slime 4KT coming in 4th with 12. Black Clover, Euphoric Gods, and G3 Temper all coming in with 10 points apiece at 5, 6, and 7 respectively. Ending off the first page, we've got Undisputed AE in 8th with 5 points. Of course, moving on into our second page, Aphelion Apex is going to be heading that up with 4 points, as well as BBC with 4 points there in 9 and 10. And a comfy Cartel coming in 11th place. We've got Influence Rage in 12, Scincerity in 13, and the Drogons, Young Thundercats, and Pain in 14, 15, and 16 respectively with 0 points each. So yeah, what a crazy second game. And certainly a little bit of a difficult one heading in towards the end there. A little bit of a tough one for a couple of those teams in the surrounding area which weren't really able to leverage their position, especially once they had finished their fights. There was like 3 or 4 teams sitting out in the blue, but they couldn't move forward because, well, there was just too many crosshairs and too many players.
I have a question. Could we go back to the first page of that last leaderboard? I just want to point out something very, very quickly about G3 Temper. Now, if we look at the standings after that particular match, they had, I think, 9 kills and 1 placement point. How do you get 9 kills and end up with 1 placement point? Like, that means that as soon as the match went off, they went in and literally had like all the kills and then got taken out. Like, that's just how important those kill points are. Look at G3 Temper with 9 kills, only surpassed by Zero Tolerance Skills, right? And 1 placement point. And that's just, I just wanted to bring this up to reiterate how important the kill points are. For all the teams who like to talk about playing passive, the kill point is extremely important. Keeping G3 Temper in double digits for that particular match, 1 placement point and 9 kill points. So teams, if you're watching this right now, make sure you push hard and you can get those kills. If they got 1 placement point, which means they ended up in probably 8th to 12th. You get me? So that is just wanted to point out how important that is. And DK, I feel like some of these teams don't understand. Please, could you explain to them how important the kill points are?
Well, as we've seen now in the case here of the players from G3, they were able to, as you've showed, pointed out there, they were able to secure themselves a position on that first page by just stepping up and getting so aggressive. And a lot of teams we see finishing up in those high placement positions get that, but they don't always have the accompanying kills coming in to even to try and improve those points even more so. So we've seen this time and time again. The teams that are able to lead the pack, they do that because not only are they consistent in the amount of placement points they are able to acquire, but also they are overly aggressive and able to bring in really high counts. So that is essentially what you want, what you want for your team is you want the aggression, you want your team to go out and try and just shoot everything and anything that moves.
Yep, and I'm hoping that that's what we get to see as the teams take off into Miramar for our last map of the day. Obviously, there will be more action tomorrow, but right now, I leave you in the very capable hands of DK and Patchy, and I will see you guys after the match.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sid. This is game number 3, the final game for the evening. It's Miramar. And of course, we have our flight path heading in from the southeast all the way up in towards the north. Teams will be dropping down on towards the map, and well, everything is looking good so far. We're about to see where that zone is gonna land, because of course that is going to determine if the teams are going to have to do any crazy rotates or anything similar to that. So we'll take a look and see where that goes. We're also going to keep our eyes on the teams like 4KT to see if they can put any more points on the board. And in fact, the zone will be going down in towards the south. So lots of open area to rotate into, especially down there in the southwest. Jumasera almost completely empty. We'll see if the Comfy Cartel and Pain potentially rotate in that direction. There's quite a bit of free loot to be had down in towards those particular areas. We're gonna have quite a fiasco up in towards the north, though, because I can see quite a number of teams stacked up there, and certainly they're all gonna have to make a rotate eventually. Luckily for them, the first couple of zones are quite slow, so you do have a little bit of leeway. There is a little bit of room to maneuver. You can see Rain from Hell certainly taking their liberties here. They realize that they have the time to make the loots, to make the rotates. They are quite happy to just move off in towards the northwest. They're no problem for them whatsoever. Amen now, of course, right up here with Black Clover to potentially start a fight already. This is what we like to see straight off the bat. Nade's going to go straight in, not going to do any damage, but at least Amen is looking for a little bit of a skirmish out.
Yep, and of course now the players here from Black Clover, they are looking for a little bit of points though, Patchy, because we currently have them sitting in 16th place, right on the edge of that relegation. 7 points of their competitors down in 17. So yeah, still a bit of pressure on their shoulders here. They have to try and secure their position, and they're going up against a team here from Lag, who's only a few points up ahead of them. Of course, now Lag is also looking to ensure that they stay in this safe zone. See High now looking to step up, but of course Lag using their numbers advantage, putting up the pressure, and of course finding the shot straight up in towards High. But now we will look to see what the rest of the team from Black Clover will be bringing. Are we going to see that aggression roll on in? As well, we did see Narcos potentially trying to rotate away, but Lag just being on point, finding the shots and those angles, and of course reducing the side there of Black Clover down to 2 remaining players.
Yeah, so straight off the bat, losing a couple of their players and losing quite a bit of power to move forward through the rest of this map. That's going to be a difficult a thing to contend with. Certainly not impossible. It's not the end of the road for them just yet, but certainly it is going to be very difficult. You can see they are retreating, but there are so many teams in the surrounding area, so many players that they have to be careful about where they rotate into. G3 and Aphelion Apex up in the top in the north of the map, ready to potentially receive if the rest of Black Clover do decide to move into that particular spot. Well, for the rest of the map, though, plenty of space. The Comfy Cartel did decide to move slightly closer towards Jumasera. Pain still sitting in towards Mikado. Nothing too crazy happening in the general vicinity. So right now, looking up towards the top, 4KT, really close to Lag. So they actually have 2 players on either side of Lag. So maybe we'll see a little bit of a battle coming in up there.
And it's going to be an interesting fight between the Lag and Slime 4KT. There's only 2 points separating both these teams. So whatever they do in this, we could potentially see either of these teams leapfrogging ahead of their opposition. And of course now, if we want to see the players here from Slime 4KT move even further up, they need to at least bring home potentially 2 points, which we know is a very possible thing for them to accomplish. But of course, how satisfied are they going to be with moving up just 1 slot? If they want to move up potentially maybe 2 slots, they're going to have to do quite a bit of work to get that one done, as there's 7 points ahead to move into that next potential slot. So a little bit of work still remains if the teams want to get even further up that leaderboard. But essentially, we're going to be looking to the teams still sitting down over on it to that relegation zone. The Euphoric Gods, Rainbow Six, Madagascar, Fear, Not Gaming, the Natural Killers, Comfy Cartel, Rain from Hell, and of course the Drogons. So a few of those teams we have in this lobby right here. And of course the team from Rain from Hell, who we have in the lobby, currently sitting right down in that 23rd position. So it is going to be quite a bit of a challenge here for them to try and bring that play, as well as the Drogons. We have the Drogons sitting down in 24th. So a lot of work still up ahead for these teams to try and get through, to improve those points. And already now we see the players there from Young Thunder running into the side there, of course, of the players from the Undisputed AE 4KT, just perched up on the hill. just patiently waiting for that angle. And of course, Petri, please do the pronunciation for us there.
You know, I was under the impression that it was Lefuent, but actually, it's Louis Fuent. Yeah, it's Louis Fuent right there. We've got Louis Fuent doing a little bit of a teabag over here, just making sure that he's on top of things, making sure that he's got some angles up here towards the top of this mountain. You know, Lefuent sounds cooler, so I'm just going to keep calling him that. But certainly, we are slowly deconstructing his name. You know, we're understanding the depth and complexity of what's going on here. He's tapping some shots down in towards the players in the compound below, but won't find any damage just yet. But he's continuing to bob up and down, probably listening to some serious music, some serious jams in his headset right here, putting a couple of shots across the way. But yeah, ultimately just dancing. You know, sometimes that's what you really got to do. You just gotta bob up and down to the beat. You know, get into the zone. See if any of the players up ahead of you are willing to hand themselves over, and so you can pick up some kills. Lag deciding to get into the buggy here. Just going to be rotating through the compound as you know, they're not too concerned with those long range shots just yet, considering he hasn't landed any of them. So we'll be moving away from our friend Lefuent and heading into some of the other parts of the map at the moment. Aphelion Apex moving down in towards Chumacera there, the Comfy Cartel, Halala just off in the one side. Pain actually also making the rotate as well, so they could potentially run head first into one of these teams here, and maybe we'll see a little bit of a battle, but it is brewing. It is brewing. Unfortunately, with the way the teams have been playing this, well, not this weekend, and well, actually it has been this weekend, the teams have played a little bit slower than usual, which means that Miramar does take a little bit longer to get the action in.
Yeah, it takes a little time to pick up the pace and pick up the speed there, but of course, as the teams are looking to push in, we see some of them, of course, already getting pretty aggressive out for those last few points. This, of course, is the last match in which they can acquire those points for today. Of course, bringing us closer to tomorrow's matches, and we see the players here from Undisputed, of course, now just rotating through the Los Leones region, heading up in towards the north there as they make their way on through. We have the players there, of course, from the Euphoric gods positioned within Los Leones itself, but G3 as well as the team there from Young Thunder, they are rolling in to that more centralized position, and we could see a few engagements actually coming in between these two teams.
Yeah, already just a couple of shots going through, and they will try and save themselves. Superior does get taken down as G3 come out on top of that one. The last two players do decide to rotate away, which is the smart decision for the time being. Of course, as you can see, that blue zone has moved in. Our new zone heading down into the southwest just a little bit. So the teams like Comfy Cartel, Pain, and Undisputed AE will be feeling quite fine with that. G3 still trying to find the shots in. But so far, Young Thundercats have moved away from that position, so they will be alive for now.
Yeah, slow and steady does it. I mean, that is kind of the feel that I'm getting off of this map, as we see quite a few teams still having to travel all the way back into that safe zone. Of course, BBC, Rain from Hell. We've got so many teams still positioned out in the blue zone even. We are in the second phase, so it's not doing too much damage just yet. But now, damage, of course, coming straight over on towards Matrix, as he is getting caught right in the mix here with Scincerity. And you can, of course, see Muffin now looking to push up with a beautiful hit straight in towards Matrix, not being able to dodge that one.
Yeah, you can't dodge bullets, unfortunately. You know, it's great when you try and maybe you get lucky. We have seen it a couple of times here and there. So I think I saw that yesterday or maybe the day before. But yeah, I mean, we've seen it, but it's not something you should try and rely on. The shots coming in from Comfy Cartel as the Euphoric gods taking a little bit of damage there. Lala has gone down, though, as some third-party shots do come through. We'll see if Comfy Cartel can make this push a success this time around. Certainly could be possible, but they have to be careful. Smokes have been popped just to obscure the vision, make sure they don't get taken away from any other position. So we can run up to the top of the hill as the team does decide to pull back. An explosion going to take Eamon out, but the rest of the team, of course, moving off into the distance. The Comfy Cartel will not find their prey just yet, and even though they have been hunting, the prey will run away using the vehicles. We're trying to get those long-range shots in, but it is too late to make anything happen. So unfortunately, the attack does fall flat for the Comfy Cartel.
Well, of course, now they still have a few more opportunities to go as they are in a pretty good position within that zone. But looking at that funneling coming in, especially up in towards the north, we've got so many teams looking to push in, and this is where the zone is going to get especially difficult. But of course, BBC, they do have the compounds to try and capitalize off of. So looking to see whether or not they've been able to fortify those angles. But as well, the same goes for the teams situated over on towards this eastern front. We got Pain, we got G3, all looking to make a bit of a stand, as we can see Influence Rage. And of course, starting the fight, they're putting the shots up in towards G3, but it is going to be an absolute fight. A hornet's nest with just the sheer number of teams all converging down onto the same point.
Yeah, and this is the beginning of what could potentially be some spicy fights that are about to happen. Lots of teams congested around towards the northeast of that zone. Of course, a couple of teams towards the northwest as well. Moving down, we've got Rain from Hell moving in towards BBC. But as that zone closes up, we're going to have a little bit of a restricted play area once again. I'm very interested to see where it's about to drop, because that might just throw a bit of a curveball to a lot of these teams, depending on where it does decide to land. And if it does decide to go away from the majority of the teams, we could be seeing a little bit of chaos. Here it comes, and it actually goes all the way to the east. So we will have quite a few rotates coming through, but ultimately the majority of the teams will still be okay for the time being. Pain up in towards the north in a good position to maybe do some gatekeeping, but now is the time when that zone is getting restricted, when you're running out of that space, you have to put the damage through. G3 taking a little bit of a fight here. Gunner looking for an angle. Are they going to be able to find it, though? The rotation's coming through very quickly. Really, you do need to make your way across that line, because things are about to heat up. We're moving in from zone 3 to 4, which means things are going to stop being viable. Blue zone rotation is going to stop being viable. Shylock using that LMG to put the long-range shots across, and indeed will be able to land it. Their fantasy does go down, but they also have to get their rotations through, because Rain from Hell very close up here to that blue zone, and right about now you don't want to get caught in there. You can see Safwan certainly getting caught out in that zone. Not the greatest position ever. Zero, not too sure what this is about. Maybe just chilling. You know, sometimes it's nice to park the car, pull out a pack of chips, and take a little bit of a break.
Yeah, I think Lag was experiencing a little bit of lag right then and there. I think that's what that's what we were looking at. But now, as we move up on it to the north of the zone, we can see the players here from G3, of course, now still looking to push on in, but just a slight bit up ahead. We've got BBC, Black Clover, as well as Pain, also looking to push further up in towards the zone. The team there from Aphelion Apex also, of course, holding on to that position over in it towards Chumasera. We got the Comfy Cartel just a slight tad bit up ahead, and this could be a good position for the players there from Comfy Cartel. But in the meantime, we're going to be seeing what Black Clovers will be able to do in the compound, as BBC is looking to push on in. But they do have a slight bit of an unwanted visitor coming in from the south there, looking to apply a bit of that third-party action, and things are definitely going to start heating up pretty soon, as Rain from Hell, of course, now is still looking to acquire any more additional points.
Oh, Hamadi getting taken out there. BBC, the unwanted visitor, coming in through the back door, taking him out. Oh man, how unfortunate is it when your home gets invaded? Unfortunately, that is, yeah, nobody wants that to happen, but there it is. Of course, G3 now on the move. They have made their way in across that line. Potato going to get taken out by Sneaks, and thirsted immediately there. Scincerity looking to find something that they weren't able to find in the previous game, and definitely, I have to give it to them. With the courage that they showed on that push in the previous map, this is certainly time to just bring it out again. See if you can't push your luck, can't push your advantage, maybe find something in this game here. Long range shots going through towards G3, maybe a little bit of damage. So he'll now moving up, and he will find Muffin. Just one man right up here on the end of the hill is going to be just making an assault. Absolutely does not care that he is the only player right here. He's just going to be tossing those nades in, trying to put the hits across as well. Just putting on a little bit of assault before he makes his way around and runs away from that engagement there. Of course, you never want to go 1v4. I was hoping that he would. I was hoping that he would just push up and, just go for it, because that's always fun. but it's not to be. I'm not going to get what I wish for. We can always hope that Sahil will be retreating. He'll be making the smart decision, keeping him and his team's hopes and dreams alive. Of course, that zone has headed up in towards the northeast. All of the teams, well, most of the teams at least, already inside. Quite comfy. BBC moving up in towards the northwest. We've got Aphelion Apex right up ahead there as well. Rain from Hell, the comfy Cartel, and Pain Africa, nice and central in towards the zone. Of course, in towards the east, we've got Influence Rage and 4KT moving up and towards the Euphoric Gods, so maybe they're going to find themselves under a little bit of pressure here. Sinister trying to reposition as the teams start to roll on up. We've still got 14 teams and 46 players alive in this map, but things are going to heat up very, very quickly, because now is the time where we start to run out of space. We're already 4 zones in, we're about to head in towards 5, and that is basically the beginning of the end game right there. So we're teetering on the edge of moving into the end game, and that is going to start making things very, very difficult here for these teams. They're going to start running out of space really, really quickly. They have to be careful. They have to start taking something, some sort of a fight anywhere that they can manage it, because if they end up in the late game with all of these teams still remaining, it is going to be a tough time for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully the teetering doesn't come to the tipping point, because, I mean, that could, of course, cause quite a bit of chaos, as we see 14 teams still alive in this 4th phase. We're about to transition into that 5th phase. And, of course, now the shots are still finding their way on through across the board. But now the players here from the Euphoric Gods are looking to make their final stand, as we do see the side of Scincerity moving in. Another misfire on a nade coming out. There's a few interesting grenade throws we've seen come in today, but of course now we look to see whether or not Muffin can put one of those nades right on point. Not finding the damage just yet. It does make it over the wall for the time being, and of course now Muffin trying to just clear out the area, as we do have Hunter and Sinister just hugging the edge of that compound. But here we go now, Muffin sending out the mollies, looking to do a little bit of additional damage. But of course the fights are still breaking out all across the map here, as all these 14 teams are looking to make a stand. Fortunately though, for the Euphoric Gods, they do have a bit of a distance between them and the push coming in here from the players of Scincerity. But now, if Sinister and Hunter hold on and they are able to defend this, they can actually do quite a bit of damage. But Scincerity has a player on the off angle there, providing some additional necessarily here from where they currently are, but of course you can see already the comms are starting to work out as the mollies are being sent right into the chamber where we have the players from the Euphoric Gods. So now we look to see whether or not some of the players here from Scincerity are going to start pushing in, coming in with the aggression there. They are so close to that tipping point, so close to come rushing in, but of course a little bit too close there for Silent, as he gets blown up with a nade up on the ridge line. It is now up to the rest of the team to try and move in and clear it out.
Oh, are they up to the challenge? Scincerity got a little bit of work to do up against the Euphoric Gods. Hunter gonna get taken out immediately. Sneaks once again absolutely clean on that trigger. Sneak's been doing so much work here with this UMP. Just been taking player after player, doing so much damage. Sinister now running for his life, trying to get himself across that zone. But hello, there is a team right up ahead of you that you're about to run head first into. Goodbye, sir. Out he goes immediately. No chance there. Influence Rage very quick to take him out. But now Scincerity about to face the same problem. Down in the south, we have some eliminations as well. And the thing that is, of course, going to make me the saddest is that we did see our friend LeFou get taken out just earlier, which is a little bit unfortunate. I wanted to see him make the chicken dinner, but it isn't to be either. Now, of course, Scincerity trying to make the push up in towards Influence Rage, and they're just not going to find what they're looking for here. There's too much pressure, and if they rotate away towards the south, they get taken out. If they rotate up towards the north, they're going to be fighting the blue, but they might just have a chance. Of course, if they just push head first in towards Influence Rage, it's going to be a one-on-one battle. The kill feed going nuts. Buden going to go down in the meantime. Nahal getting taken out by the blue zone as well, so everything is just absolute chaos. We are already in our top 10 teams at the moment. 38 players left alive. The shots coming in from Silly now, long range. will find their mark. Kage taking out some players. Observation going down. Sully taking down the Beast for luck. Also getting eliminated there. Our boy LaFuent going down again and getting eliminated. No. 4KT under fire as well. Squeak putting the shots in. Sneaks goes down eventually. The player that was putting in so much damage for Scincerity not going to be able to do that anymore. Respect now pushing up in towards Influence Rage, just throwing rocks at a brick wall right now is what they're doing, but they don't have any choice because the blue zone's moving up and it does so much damage here that they have no choice but to push up in towards Influence Rage. Here comes Respect trying to put the shots in, but there's too many players to deal with. Here comes Hainsley just showing face to push them back, to just put the pressure on and say, yep, you can't come this way. We're already here. Scincerity just sneaking up towards the top there, around the side of the mountain, keeping themselves alive and just within the blue. Lala getting taken out in the meantime. Shots coming through. True pushing straight on in. Here they come. The damage comes through, but 4KT pulls the trigger faster. Vex able to do the necessary damage. Influence Rage not having the confidence to push up towards Scincerity, and because of that, they're now going to have to face off in a battle once again because the zone has shifted off towards the west, and this fight is inevitable. There's no way of avoiding it. Respect gonna have to be super quick on this trigger because here comes Influence Rage. Mercury, LMG putting the shots across. And this is basically done and dusted. Respect not going to be able to do anything at this point. It's a 1v3. The high ground is in the side of Influence Rage. And in the kill feed, absolute madness and mayhem abound.
Yeah, a lot of madness still to come. And of course, Influence are looking to wrap it up. Scincerity now just barely holding on, but that zone of course having shifted up once again, and now Influence Rage looking a little bit cheeky there as they rotate away on the vehicle. They're like, I dare you to try and shoot at me. I will prove to you just how quick I am. And of course, well, it worked out right there in favor of Influence Rage as they put the shot straight into Scincerity, of course, ending their hopes and dreams right there. But now, Influence Rage right here alongside the players coming in from Bane as we see El Chapo and Hanad looking to lay down the law as the shots come flying in. Of course, Kingerman goes down. Hainsley getting knocked out as well. Will they be able to secure themselves a position within the zone? It is going to be quite a bit of a challenge to try and push in. It is now up to Sully and Sleepy to try and get that, of course, accomplished. We see this eastern side looking pretty tough, but we only have 4 teams remaining. So the other 2 teams, of course, situated over towards that western half. But here we go, El Chapo and Hanad, not too comfortable, not too satisfied with their position for the time being. We also still have the Beast just patiently chilling up there in the opposite building, holding off for the time being before engaging up that beast mode. But of course, we also see the side of G3 up ahead. Sully now trying to find that placement. Bane still sitting strong on all 4 players alive. So there could still be quite an impressive play coming in. A potential clutch also coming in as they do have the numbers advantage. Influence Rage, we can see sitting down on 2. G3 sitting on 2. And this is where things are only going to get tougher. As you can see, Gunner now looking to take aim. Looking to make a bit of an opening and secure themselves this position as the hits come through. And of course, the teams are reduced down to 3. Now, it is do or die for the side here of Bane, as well as the players there from G3, looking to show dominance in the zone.
Yeah, G3 don't have the numbers, but they do have the skill and the experience to make something happen. Lord from BBC is solo. It is going to be a difficult time, but if we've seen anything from BBC, it's been massive, massive improvement. So they could make something happen. Lord could definitely make something happen, but I think Pain, they have the absolute advantage right now. Gunner take Sleepy out, but Sully instantly getting taken down. Gunner gets taken down by a Chapo, and that is basically done and dusted for G3. I think Flecker not really in a position to be able to get the res in on the team, so basically just going to have to 1v4 or 1v3. Depending on how this, 1v4 up against Pain Africa, and then of course up against Lord as well. There come the shots. Gunner does get thirsted, so indeed it is a 1v4+1 here. Shots coming in from Lord, that gives away his position. Pain does know he's there, but they want to deal with G3 first, which is probably the smart choice, because he's borderline on that zone, just across the line. Here comes Flaco. He has to make this work. Oh, instantly nailed. No chance there. What a headshot coming in. There's just no chance for him to even think about getting the clutch there. Lord basically playing games with the blue zone at the moment, and we all know how this goes. It's goodbye, sir. Pain Africa will take the final chicken dinner for game number 3.
Yeah, that was an absolutely beautiful, beautiful play coming in there from Pain Africa. And of course, showing us why they've already been able to bring home 4 chicken dinners. Now lining up their 5th one. Of course, the first team so far in the semis to get that 5th chicken dinner under the belt. And of course, what a play that was. They did so in style, securing themselves a 12-kill finish. Absolutely phenomenal. Of course, BBC stepping up there into that 2nd position, coming in with 3 kills. And G3 still holding strong, finishing off on 5 kills over in 3rd place.
Yeah, what a strong finish coming in from these teams here. Pain Africa, certainly that is a team that I have to just say, I've been saying it a couple of times, but I have to say again, a team that certainly surprised me with their performance here, really coming in huge actually, and moving up to the top. I believe they're sitting right at the top of the leaderboard, very, very close, I think top 5 at least. So they've really come in quite impressive. And done some good job. So definitely big shout out to them. But of course, well played to all the teams here today. Some insane games. But I wonder if the question is answered. Has 4KT done enough to keep themselves out of relegation? I think they might have. I think they
might have as well. Just looking at the gameplay and looking at the standings, I think they got 5th position with about maybe 7 kills. Which puts them in some nice points on the board to sort of secure where they've been at. I don't really think anyone beneath them has done quite well to. So I think they might have done enough. The fairy tale is complete, and looking forward to the finals. But obviously, we still have to wait for the final set of games tomorrow to sort of solidify what exactly the overall standings after the semis is going to look like. So. Just waiting on the standings and making the standings look like now. But we are. Hold on one second. So we are hoping to get everything sorted out as quickly as possible.
All right, we've got our standings here. Of course, just
I'll
a
take a
refresher
refresh.
off from that game. Pain Africa sitting in the number 1 spot, 27 points for them, and quite a considerable number of those points coming straight out of the amount of kills that they got. Coming in 2nd place, BBC, of course, getting 15 points in total. G3 Temper coming in 3rd place with 15. Influence Rage in 4th place with 13, as well as 4KT with 13 points in 5th place there. So quite a considerable number of kills coming to bolster their points. Zero Tolerance Skills coming in 6th place with 7 as well. Scincerity Esports with 7 in 7th place. And definitely they're hunting their, how do I say, the energy that they've been showing definitely coming into work for them. 5 kills going to be moving them into 7th place with 7 there. Lag Esports coming in with 5 points in 8th place to round out the first page of our standings from that game. Moving on into the 2nd page, of course, Rain from Hell in 9th position with 5. Cartel with 4 points in 10. Aphelion Apex, 3 points in 11. Undisputed AE with 2 points in 12. Drogons, Young Thundercats, Black Clover, Euphoric Gods with 0 apiece from 13 to 16. And yeah, I mean, it's just, as I mentioned, it's been quite a day for the games here. Quite an interesting time across all the maps. 4KT with the early chicken, giving themselves a good time, a good chance to maintain their position. And then, of course, here is the overall leaderboard. Gamers Unite Nations, of course, sitting 292 points, and Undisputed AE closing their gap quite considerably, now sitting on 288 points in 2nd place. G3 Tempo, of course, maintaining their position in 3rd with 235 points. Pain Africa, as I mentioned, still in top 5 with 232 points in 4th place. Their Influence Rage taking up 5th position with 211. So everyone on the first page making it very much well up across the 200-point mark. Ultra 6 in 6th place with 206. Immortalz in 7th place with 203. As well as BBC is still in 8th place with 203 points. So they are still maintaining their position. They're on that first page for the bragging rights. Of course, moving on to the 2nd page where the teams are trying to solidify themselves. Zero Tolerance Skills still going to find themselves up on the top in 9th with 193. Aphelion Apex in 10 with 179. Slime 4KT, as I mentioned, pretty much safe and secure in 11th spot with 167 points, although followed closely by Lag Esports and NFxUnique with 161 points, each in 12 and 13 respectively. Young Thundercats in 14 with 134 points. Scincerity in 15 with 132. Black Clover coming in 16th position with 121, and that's really where the point of contention starts for relegation, because as we head into that final page where these teams are in the hot seat, it's 17th position, Euphoric Guards 18. We've got Rainbow Six Madagascar. 19, we've got Fear. 20, we've got Not Gaming. In 21, the Natural Killers. In 22, the Comfy Cartel. In 23, there's Rain from Hell, and in 24, of course, the Drogons. So that is, of course, where the hot seat is, and it seems like there's a little bit of contention for 18, 19, 20th position there, and of course 17th with 114 points. They're teetering on the edge there, but I don't know, not enough to really get themselves out.
I'm just thinking, looking at the standings right now, of these teams here, DK, which teams you think have an opportunity to make it out of this relegation zone?
With regards to opportunity and looking at what the what the minimum requirement is at the current moment to make it into that second page, of Euphoric Gods, of course, 7 points away from that, right? So based on just purely the points, they are pretty close to get into the into that second page. But of course, we can expect the players from Black Clover to just keep on bringing it, as I don't expect them to give up just yet. They are not guaranteed of their position at the current time, so they're going to still have to bring in those plays. But I do think the teams from Not Gaming, Fear, Rainbow Six, and of course Euphoric Gods, they are pretty close in the running when it comes to the potential of easily maybe getting up into that second page, as there's only one team for them to try and get over and above of, and that of course being the side there of the players of Black Clover. So yeah, I think tomorrow is going to be especially quite a bit of pressure on the shoulders for the team there of Black Clover, and it's going to be a pretty tricky one to see whether or not they'll be able to hold on. We are seeing them playing again tomorrow, so there is hope for them to try and defend that position. But this is where I'd be looking to the teams from 20th up to 16. And it's going to be a fight between them. But who knows? Maybe Comfy Cartel or the Natural Killers come in and, just surprise us with 2 amazing games tomorrow. Because if they are able to acquire 40 points each, right, regardless of how they go through it, they can very much jump in to that second page, so they're still out of it. But then again, we have to look at the reality, looking at what the teams have done in the past matches and whether or not they are likely to perform well enough to get into that. It's going to be a lot of hard work, and it's going to be really, really tough.
As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, there is so much to talk about, so much action, which is why you need to be having the conversations on Nodwin Gaming socials. Make sure you follow Nodwin Gaming on all our social media so you can stay up to date on all the information and also get into the conversation, because these permutations and the possibilities are endless, looking at who's going to stay up and who's going to go down. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say a big thank you to DK and Patchy. This is the excitement that is the Umzansi Esports League. This is season 3. We have been delivering the PUBG Mobile action. Shout out to the observers, all the teammates, and all the players who made today happen. We will see you tomorrow with more action. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. It is I, Dr. Sid.